first. Well, we're live, but I'll start promoting everything. We won't do the official episode. Then Kirkland gotta take Marco out for a poop. Like how to Taylor with a crock pot meal or an Instapot. You know how to time it. How do you not time it to be done before 8? And why are you eating dinner at 8 p.m. our time?
Okay, I thought making the jerk chicken would be a lot faster. It took at least like 40 minutes to figure out what I was doing. The recipe
40.
said half an hour to get it all in there. So I had it all in the Instapot come 7:20. It took about 15 minutes for the Instapot to heat up. And then 10 minutes to cook. Now it's beeping, so I'm going to be back. I won't come back with food. I know you hate it.
You can eat. There's 4 of us. Just eat quietly.
Oh, you won't hear a sound out of me.
Well, that's a lie. I know that's not gonna happen. I don't mind the occasional thing. There was that time that I won't say who. Certain people on Geekverse back in the day would just eat a little too much for my liking, and I was,
Oh, what do you mean? Who? You know that was me. I was eating the chili on cast and everything.
Well, you were one of them. You were one of 2. There's definitely another one that was maybe the only.
Kirkland was just eating. What was he eating last night?
Yeah, he was. He said like falafel or some shit. I don't know what it was.
So it was cake.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him. Like, it's just like a little thing. I'm like, it's definitely fun. Like, I've been in those situations too where you're a busy ass day and you don't get time to eat. And I've had to eat on cast like silently and whatnot. So I definitely get it. So that's fine. I just never liked if it's a consistent thing because it's just like, it's just like
There's
I see
a
like
mute
Tim
button
Rooney
for a reason, guys. Come on now.
Well, this is when we were in person though, so there was no muting. It was just like, and not that you could hear it, but it's just like, especially now that we do this like kind of in a part-time way. People are gonna, you're gonna be eating on the job, you're gonna be, and then they'll call us out, and then we'll get canceled or something. But no, in person it used to be a bit more of a shindig. So we'll wait for Kirkland to officially start this. We'll let some people gather in. That was a loud beep, by the way, Taylor.
You could hear the beep?
Oh yeah, 100%. Is your door open?
I did not hear anything.
Clay didn't
Oh,
hear
there's
it.
definitely replay footage of that, but that's okay.
Right. I'll be back.
Okay, you'll be back. Extra Life just replied. Extra Life just replied to my video saying I'm gonna beat Kirkland Patzer. I said this is me in the morning after Extra Life stream of Sports Champion again, and your longest title reign's over. And Extra Life just said yes. This is I know you don't watch sports, Clay, but do you know who Skip Bayless is?
No. Sounds familiar.
He would be like in the podcast community, like somebody that would be kind of like acting like very like hyperbolic on purpose and stuff like that. But there's just this clip of he says this.
I am back. What it do, baby?
And I've just been obsessed with it ever since I've seen it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to be using it all the time. But they just said that. And no, it's so Kirkland, I'll tell this on stream. He's such a rookie. So in this video, I shared it using that clip. And it says 2.9. You probably can't see it there, but it says 2.9 million views. And Kirkland's like, how did you do that? Like, how did you get 2.9 million views? And I never told him it wasn't me. I just like, oh, yeah. I just replied to him, said, I'm a god. And then he's like, oh, how do you get 2.9 million? Just, oh, yeah, it's just the way I roll. But it's because the source of origin is someone else's account. So I guess I should actually share this episode too. Get it going. Excited for Eternals?
I'm excited in the sense of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna go see,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I still like I knew I feel like the bare minimum for Guardians, because I was never like a classic Guardians fan. So when I saw like the trailers for Guardians, I was like, okay, let's see them pull this one off. Like, even though they were full groove of all of the fucking MCU at that point, and they made it work. And I'm interested to see how the weekend plays out, because it's weird because Veterans Day does not fall. It's usually like on the, I mean, I say usually, but like there's some good like 3-day weekends where Veterans Day, and you guys, it's not Veterans Day, it's called Remembrance Day, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that'll play a factor in the weekend, but I want to know if Eternals can last through Thanksgiving
Mm-hmm.
to see if it'll get a boost that weekend.
Well, the good thing is it doesn't because when is Thanksgiving in for you guys?
Thanksgiving is on the 24th, and the 25th is Black Friday. Oh, sorry, 25th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, okay. So Travis Hines, when I saw who was on the stream, I expected a fight to the death, not sensible discussion. That's what happens when you're killing time there, Hines. It's funny. So I have the YouTube studio open and I get the comments there before I get them on StreamYard. It's
Oh,
very
okay,
funny.
yeah.
So it's a little preview. Yeah, no, I'm not just reading text out loud. Yeah, Hines. Well, that's the best thing. As of everything we've said before, with this, with Gauntlet, with everything, there has to be a level of business and professional. It's the same reason why did
See-
Stone Cold never fire or get fired by Vince McMahon? At the end of the day, they still know they needed to work together.
Professionalism, Heinz. Look,
Exactly.
I am a guest, so I
Mhm.
went ahead and I was like, I'll represent, but I know that Snell is going to be quick to disrespect me in some sort of way.
Oh, never. That doesn't sound like me at all. That's not gonna happen.
But
But
I am
go ahead.
excited about Eternals. But it's because what's the next big movie?
There's not much really for me. Like some people, Ghostbusters. That's not really my deal. It probably would be Spidey. I would imagine if you think about it, Spidey, and then the week after Matrix.
But you kind of have to. You kind of have to say Ghostbusters is.
It's big, yeah. No,
It's
big.
big enough. It's big enough to be competition for Eternals. So, what they only have 2 weeks, a week.
Yeah, two weeks the most. And yeah, Ghostbusters thing is it's a big family movie. Obviously, Marvel movies are too, but at the same point, it's just like I don't know. That one might have a bit more people just wanting to go see it. Nostalgia. It's kind of funny that you have Venom, you have No Way Home, and then depending how Ghostbusters does, Sony could be like ruling the roost right now with their films. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
funny that it's like at the end of the day, Spider-Man will probably be the biggest film of the year, and then Venom will be up there. If Ghostbusters does well, that's they got quite a bit there. So Kirkland, are you lurking in the shadows for some reason? You can jump in at any point. We're not actually doing like we're live on YouTube, but we're not doing the podcast yet.
Yeah.
I just like to hide.
Yeah, just like to hide. Yeah. Taylor's checking on his chili and whatnot. So we can start now because I don't
Let's
want
do it.
Taylor or his Gurk chicken. Sorry, not his whatever I called it. But yeah, we'll do that right now. We'll get going. And I don't need them for the plugs, All I need them for is this Saturday, Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 426th episode of the Geek First podcast. I am the Destroy All Rangers Trash Snail, and I'm joined by the man who's going to be on the other side. Well, I guess I'm being double teamed right here, but my co-host who's going to be on the other side.
I am still from the studio that brought you Cookland Patzer. So I
Yeah,
did not change my name from yesterday.
There you go. And then not finally, because we will have somebody late as usual, my Wolf brother joining us, but we have somebody joining us. He will be leading the other side of the Rangers. Well, yeah, the other side, he's leading it. He has a pretty good team, I could say. So we'll see how that goes. We'll have some trash talk throughout the night, but the hosts of many podcasts, most importantly for us on the GUA, Star Wars Alliance, DC Alliance, and Ranger Alliance, and I got a slew of other things. The one of only the future loser, Fanboy Clay.
Hello. Did you just say future loser? I barely caught that.
No, I don't know. That must have been a bug on your end. I didn't hear that, but yeah, no, of course I did. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'm ready.
I come
I'm ready to
here
win.
thinking, hey, we're just gonna have a nice little promotion here. I'm a guest. Be nice, and already with the shit talk.
Play nice,
Well,
Travis. He's got
Like
the GV shirt and everything on.
you already said on Twitter that you're wearing something specifically for me. I
I'm
was
wearing
nice enough to put on my Geekverse shirt out of respect,
Looks amazing.
and now here he is already. Jesus Christ, that's not what I was expecting. God damn it.
It's my Florence Pugh Volume 1 shirt. Just a shout for Clay's favorite role in Black Widow. Big fan of that. So yeah, I would be wearing that on the stream, but I'll be wearing the classic, maybe the most classic Geek for shirt of all time, the Wolf Order shirt. Go get it right now. You're cheering for the Wolves, so you want to get it at tpublicgeekverse.com. But yeah, you want to get those. That's big. You got Taylor.
You know what? I'll say this right now.
What?
Very beginning of this cast, 10 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
If I lose, I will buy 3 of those shirts for.
And
I will
burn
buy
them.
3, 1 for each of the shows that I have on the GUA.
Oh wow, who are you gonna give those to? One's gonna be like to wipe your dog up. One's gonna be for you. But hey, I'm always down for spreading the Wolf Order. And you know what? If I lose, I'll buy myself a shirt as well because it's always good to have more Wolf Order in life. Kirkland's grandpa's a Wolf Order member, right?
That's right, he is
Yeah, he bought a
representing in
shirt.
Manitoba.
So yeah, Taylor will be in here in a little bit, but we'll get some plugs out of the way. Obviously, big week all around. We got Eternals tomorrow. We were just talking about this off air. Kirkland, you excited? We got you and I are reviewing that. The GUA goes on Friday, but
Yeah,
we got that tomorrow.
I'm excited. I'm gonna see it.
What time are you guys going live on Thursday night?
You said you were seeing at 6:30
is
our
my
time, which is
showing,
PST,
yes.
which is 9. So I think we'll probably like 9ish PST. It all depends on when it ends.
Jesus Christ.
Kind of right in there.
I'm gonna turn off notifications. I would be going in 30 minutes after you've already started your review.
Why are you going so late?
Yeah, that's very late.
So it's gonna be 9:30 my time when I go see it. It's the second showing for IMAX.
Well,
And
that's your time would still be only 6 our time. You'll be seeing it the same time as us.
No. So you said that you're going live at what time?
9, but that's
9.
PST. Remember, PST.
Yes. So 9 PST is what you're going live on?
Yeah.
I thought you said 6.
No.
That's when
we're
we're seeing
seeing
the
it at
movie.
6. Yeah.
Okay,
This
you're
man's
seeing
supposed
it
to
at
lead a
6?
trivia team coming this weekend, huh?
Hey,
What's gonna
there's no
happen?
trivia on fucking time zones, and
We don't know what Chris is gonna pull out. Do you think
I
Chris
need-
has the balls to
honestly-
ask the Eternals question?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Because there's
can
only
he-
gonna be a
can-
few
rule
of
it
us.
out.
Can he?
The uncanny
He can
Chris.
technically switch the questions the day before, I guess.
He can switch him at any point up until time that he
Like
can't.
if we're gonna already be talking about the charity stream, I'm already confident that that DC is ours.
Wow.
We're gonna be a little tripped up on Marvel. I will admit you have Brent, but I will say Star Wars is gonna be interesting because you have Taylor, you have Ray, but
Well, Taylor's just hosting. I don't have Taylor.
You better not have
Oh,
Taylor.
okay,
No,
okay,
of
okay.
course I don't.
That's right.
Also-
But no,
so
I
you-
do have Tyler
you-
Bucks who hosted Stars Alliance, Stars Trivia last year. Him and his partners.
But you have Ray.
Mhm.
He's big Star Wars, big Trekkie. I mean, he's big into sci-fi, so he's gonna have that Star Wars knowledge. Both Brent and Ray recently, within the last year, binged all of Star Wars animated. So Clone Wars, Rebels, all of that stuff.
I don't think those are in the trivia though. Taylor said.
I think he said for his
Really?
TV stuff, he's just sticking to live action TV questions.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
And I didn't tell him
There's
to
hope.
preference that. I just said you got to have 20 film and then 10
I mean, because I was gonna
movies.
say he has a lot to
Or-
choose
yeah.
from.
Yes,
And
he
like
does.
technically, I guess Marvel would have too if they decide to just like, oh, I'm gonna have freaking X-Men animated series.
Yeah, well, and I told Chris same thing. He doesn't have to pick MCU, so it's all same thing. DC, it's all kind of on the tail. I don't know because I thought that last year when we versed SCS, we thought we'd have Marvel and they'd have DC, and it was the other way around. I think we still got more, and I will explain the rules to everybody. If people don't remember, the way it works is people answer individually. So the reason we do that is just because if you had one person that knows everything, they can't just keep buzzing in and be like, "Oh, I know this, I know." So that's why it's a team-based thing. So gonna go
Yeah.
alphabetical order and be like, "Okay, Kirkland, this question's for you." And if he misses it, we get a chance to steal still in alphabetical, not just all of us. And that's what we did last year because it shows like
See,
everybody answers the
I wasn't.
question.
I was able to watch the trivia for like 20 minutes last year because I was
you
working.
really
I was
fucked
working
us
during
on
that
the
day.
replay. They lost our replay. It was really annoying. So they claim you can't have a video over 12 hours, but I know many other people that do. But it's just because we're lower on the totem pole, But that's why you gotta go subscribe because it's gonna be a fun time. Start with that November 6th, 9 a.m. PST. The trivia battle will be 6 p.m. PST. We will release, I think, Friday. The schedule's already out.
Wait,
but
you
Friday
say
we're
6 p.m.?
6 p.m. PST.
PST.
So
Okay,
don't
so
worry.
it's
Don't
later
worry.
on.
Don't.
Well, no,
he's
no, no,
gonna
no.
show up.
It's just the fact
time
that we have, of course, our the last Ronin crew, Joe, me, Hines, and Chris. We're talking about doing a little Patreon recording right before the trivia. So
No, there you go. There you go.
yeah.
So
Trying to plan it out.
oh, there you go. Yeah, and then that'll be happening. There'll be the full schedule's already out on the Extra Life. The links are down below, but you can go and it'll be Friday. Everything will be released. Sports title, trivia battle, Harry Potter trivia's happening, Mario Party. So tons of stuff, all towards a good cause. Taylor Field, Mr. Jerk Chicken, can go bald. Always mute himself. What a way to eat chicken! But he'll go bald at 2,500. Jessica will go bald at 3,000, and if we were to hit 4,000, Tony would bravely shave his head.
It's 4,000. For
Yeah,
some reason,
it's 4,000.
Me and Katie thought it was 5. I was like, they're going
No,
bold
even
and
that, even
going
4,000 is a bit much.
reaching 5K.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a fun show. That trivia battle. It's gonna be, I honestly don't know who will win. Nah, I'm joking. No, we're gonna win. We're gonna wipe the floor. It's gonna be
I
completely
will say,
easy, and I
thank
can't
God
wait.
Harry
Every
Potter's
category,
not
every
ours.
question
Jesus
right.
Christ.
Every question right. Everything.
Huh, yeah. Hey, we got a pretty big band of brothers together for DC. Stealing Scott and Tim for our team was nice.
Oh, that's the. Oh yeah, I did see that clip. Yeah, Scott's just a bastard. Scott, we've worked together many times, but Scott, he can't be trusted. He's a snake. And the good thing about Scott and Tim though is, you ask them anything DC non-Snyder related, they're not gonna know. They're gonna have zero data. Like, I don't think I've ever seen one of those movies. What is that movie? So hashtag Scott Fear Strauss. I can't wait, because somehow this rivalry started with me and Clay, and no one prompted him. Just we, like, months ago when we suspended Clay, he had the hashtag release the Clay cut or whatever, release Clay from suspension. And that jerk, who have done nothing been kind to support his show, he's on the 50th fucking name change of that show, but I'm still there downloading it, supporting it. But that's what he does. And the rest of your team, I can't wait to squash them all in the goodness of charity. Even Kirkland Patzer, I'm going to squash him twice. I'm going to squash him in the trivia battle, and then we're going to stay for 21 hours for 7 a.m. and I'm going to kick his ass with sports title. Can I find Mario Sluggers right now? No, I cannot. So we might have to change games, but whatever the games may be, they will be played and I will win them all. And I'm going to make history. It's going to be a good time. So yeah. Anything you want to say, Clay? I'll give you the last word on the trivia battle before we get into that.
I have full confidence in Kirkland. I have full confidence in Tim. I have full confidence in, of course, Greg. And I have full confidence in the rest of my team. Like, we are going to kick ass.
Yes.
I have not prompted anybody to, quote unquote, do the right thing as far as these hosts making these questions. So
yeah, that just means they're going to ask great questions. That's all it means. It all means, we were talking about this offcast, Kirkland, but did you see Extra Life liked my comment saying I was going to beat you on Saturday? So the actual organization is behind me. I'm pretty stoked about that, So everyone may think I'm the bad guy in this situation. No, it's Kirkland Pat.
They're going to be disappointed when you fail.
Oh yeah, I'll just block them. They won't even get to see the result, anything like that. So, here's a main topic for tonight. We're gonna do news as always, stuff like that. You go use that Manscaped code, 20% off, worldwide shipping. We got more to talk about internals, but GV Pod right now, GV POD. Use it on the website, so do that. And then Patreon, best way to listen, exclusive episodes, early episodes, ad free, bonus content, after 9, things like that. So. The main topic for tonight is, as you can see, it's the Spider-Man. So this was I was kind of iffy on it, but this is why specifically in the links and details, I said there will be no plot details given. So if you worry and you're looking at this, because I know there's somebody, Brent, probably I can't listen to this. They're going to spoil the movie. We're not going to spoil the movie, but I will say, I will put a time code for if you want to skip it at all, because we're just talking about caution and some rumors about actually the trailer, when it will release, and as far as Marvel and Disney and fighting and everything like that. So right now, we're going to start talking about that and maybe come back in 20-ish minutes or so, but we will. So as Taylor made the thumbnail, there's a nice looking Willem Dafoe there. And I feel like, Fanboy Clay, you've probably seen this image because I know you're in the Discord. Have you been following up the what is it, the No Way Home spoilers chat. Have you seen some of the stuff in there?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we've been talking it up in there. I know SBub is trying to really go up in your scoopers tier and just throw
He really
everything
is.
in
Yeah,
there.
I did mute that thread because he put in one thing in there, which I will not talk about tonight, where I'm like, okay, I've seen enough. I'm not going to look anymore. Once we start talking about potential post credits, and it was even like, oh, they don't know for sure, but I was like, okay, I don't even want to read this. So I didn't read it, went away. But so it's a little thing. This happened a few months ago, but now it's like more confirmed, and we got like art from it, and then we got like a stunt double, and then we got a really bad Photoshop picture of like Willem Dafoe's head put on there. But supposedly this suit is what that's leaked. And people were talking about a few days ago, so now we're talking about it. This suit that leaked is the one they're going with. So if people haven't seen it, I'm sure we're gonna get a trailer in the next few weeks ago. So I'm sure you're gonna see it. But it is Willem Dafoe, and he's rocking the like old Raimi suit, but it's looking like Captain America and Infinity War. It's where all tethered and it's torn apart and you see the insides. He has lots of like accessories on it, and he has a purple scarf. And the rumor is that the helmet or the headpiece, whatever you want to call it, the mask, you're not going to see it. He's going to have this scarf / hood. I don't know if that means at any point he's going to put it on over top of his head, or he will literally just use it as a scarf the whole movie. That I'm unclear of, but Kirkland, have you seen these photos? I feel like you have.
I've
You or
seen.
have you not? Okay, I
I
wasn't sure.
have.
Well, the
Yes, I
Discord
saw
you
them on
pop in
Reddit
every
a
once
while
in a
back.
year.
I
Okay,
was
so
I didn't even know like to bring it up in the chat or anything because I didn't know what people wanted to know. Because like, how do you bring this up without like spoiling what the
how,
substance is? So I
how did
just
you end up on Reddit seeing this? What
it was
wormhole were
just
you
on like
going
one of my
down?
Marvel pages I see on my subreddit. It was like spoiler, click here to reveal, and I just wasn't even thinking. I just clicked on it, and I'm not like upset about it.
Mhm.
But no, I clicked on it and I liked what I saw. I don't know how much I want to dance around the question, but yeah, I liked what I saw.
You like what you saw? Clay, do you like what you saw?
I mean, for the most part, I do. You know, we as far as your whole like, is he going to wear the scarf as a legit scarf or over his face? You know, we always have the argument about Batman and the white eyes. I feel like he probably will not be wearing the same kind of Power Ranger mask as Brent likes to say
Mhm.
for this movie, because I think we have learned, especially now with how great Defoe's acting is, that we would like to see some emotion as Goblin, probably.
Yeah.
So they may be going with a very simplistic look, kind of probably with what the person is wearing in the legit photo. Um, you know, the what they have on their face. I'm not gonna exactly say just in case that goes too far or deep into spoiler territory.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always wondered with the goblin like get up and the costume and everything like that, like what it would look like live action. Like I feel like you'd have to CGI because it's one of those masks where it's not like a mask that go like it's a mask
Did
that
you
fully
see the leaked like behind the footage first
of
Sam Raimi
of the
costume?
Raimi one. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was like his face was all like animatronic and everything like that. And I know everyone's like, it was sitting right there. You should have done it, but it's like, well, there's clearly a reason they didn't do that. And I think there was probably still some limitations toward that. And at the same point, it's still not Defoe acting. You know, like it wouldn't have been Defoe at all. At least with Defoe, some people might not like this, but with that mask, he at times would have his eye slits come up and you could see his eyes. With that mask, you wouldn't have seen anything. I'm not sure Kirkland or Taylor if you've seen it before, but you should type up like Raimi, like original Goblin design or something like that. And it was a full, like, he's looking very goblin-y. And that's why with it's almost like the Deadpool or Spider-Man eyes, how they finally figured out, like, oh, how we'll do that as like he has a mechanic suit. I feel like you'd have to do that with Goblin because it's literally anytime you look in comics or movies or animation, it's not movies, I guess. It's like when he puts that mask on, it's like skin tight and like forms to his face. So everything he does with his face, his mouth, everything, like even then, how does he breathe? Because the goblin's like tongue will come out of that mask, but like it's supposed to be a mask. So it never really makes any sense the goblin design if you like were to think live action how you could do it, other than that, you know, ultimate goblin or something like that. But I'm all for like the purple scarf's enough. Willem Dafoe's great. I like the suit enough. I like that they're keeping it. At one point, there was like a rumored leak thing, and that is the fun thing with these because you don't know what's real and what's not. Of like him with the mask, where the mask was like kind of purple and stuff. But I'm fine if we lose it or if it's in there only for a little bit. Taylor, did you find this original Raimi Goblin look?
I did. I saw like a gif of him like mouthing and everything like that. Very scary stuff. But I'm glad they went with the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, me too.
And do you like this look that he has going on right now, Taylor?
I really do. I really do. I just feel like he's in some post-apocalyptic kind of terrain and he's just trudging along and he's got no more glider. He's just got his scarf. He's got his little satchel. He's got, some objective. It's just cool. It feels like a skin that I'd love to see in some kind of like Marvel game that I can't play because they're all on Sony consoles. So I think I don't know. I think it's a great look. I already love the original, not like the mask Goosebumps look you pointed out, but like the original look from the other movies. But I think it's great.
Goosebumps. When I refer to Goosebumps,
no, the like his initial Raimi design. It looks like it's out of Goosebumps.
Oh, okay. That's a take, but fair enough. I'll give it to you. And then so some of the other things was that there was in this leak. There's like, oh yeah, like Raimi had to convince some of the original cast, whatnot. I don't know how much I buy that or whatnot. Like other than maybe Dunst, like I feel like Toby was always going to come back. You just needed the right price and everything like that. But now there's like a current kind of conversation. Again, rumors are all over the place, but it's like, okay, so apparently Marvel and Sony, classic, cannot agree on what they want to do with the trailer. The word is that Sony wants to show Toby and Andrew and get that promotion out there, and Disney/Marvel want to withhold them and say it for a secret and everything like that. The next rumored date we're supposed to be getting is sometime the week of the 15th, which is the Ghostbusters release date. So that kind of makes sense. Big Sony movie, reason to go and whatnot. So Kirkland Batzer, we're this close. We're less than, what are we? Yeah, we're less than 2, or are we just 2 months away? No, we're less than 2 months away. Fuck, we're just almost just like a month away soon.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you in the Sony versus, if this is a true thing, the Sony versus Marvel camp of showing or not showing the 2 other Spider-Man? The news rumor right now is that they would show all the villains, but not the heroes. That seems to be one of the current rumors right now. But that's, I guess, a sticking point between both companies, that one wants to show them, one doesn't want to show them.
Yeah, I feel like if I was in those conversations with them, like originally, been like, hey, let's just keep all these people secret and just blow everyone's minds when they see it in the theaters, because that's like the best case scenario. But I feel like we're at a point where the cat's kind of already out of the bag, so might as well just rip the Band-Aid off and like just get people talking about this movie more so than they already are. That's my take on it. And I don't know, because like you said, we're basically a month away now. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like majority of people that are talking about this film are kind of under the assumption that they're just going to be in there. I don't know. I feel like this whole movie release thing, just with them like delaying the trailer as far as they did, it seems like they're just trying to like keep everything together in secret leading into it. But I don't know, with some of these leaks that are coming out and what we've already seen in the trailer, I think it's at the point that they can just show it, but I don't know.
well, and think about this. We still don't actually have a poster for this movie, like an official
kinda crazy.
poster. And like it's been memed about, but like, yeah, theaters are using fan-made posters to put in their like auditoriums so that start promoting this movie. And like that's such a weird thing. Like, and the fact that they couldn't even find one poster that they could agree on that doesn't spoil much is very odd. Like, even if it's just not the logo, I don't really get it. I am in the camp where I guess it's like, oh, people say, oh, I want to save it for a surprise, but I don't think they're going to show you the full thing. They would just show a quick tease of those 2 together. And I just, for me, from a business standpoint, I get that. Actually, I don't know if I understand why Marvel wants to withhold it, because yeah, as Bob says, at this point, I think everyone already knows that they're in it. So a tease of other spies will add extra hype, and the big reveal will be in the movie. And that to me is exactly it. Like, I guess like the most comparable thing, and it's different though, right? Is like Luke Skywalker and Mando season 2. The reason it's different though is because none of us had that coming. And sure, maybe there's some people that made some like, oh yeah, I bet Luke will be in here, and maybe, but no one knew it, right? It wasn't one of those things like, like a few weeks before we knew we had set photos. This we've known since what, like a while back, and even at the point when we didn't know they were in there, when they announced, hey, Jamie Foxx is in this, it was like, okay, so there's potential for it to play. I don't know why they don't write off the hype of showing these two. And it's not just because I want to see them. If they're actually in the movie, then I'm going to see them in a month. It's not that. It's just like I don't understand the point of, for marketing wise, having the opening weekend, and then what's going to happen is everyone's going to come out of that movie and say, oh, these people are in it, you got to see it. But it's the same effect if you were just to show them in a trailer. Like, it's I don't understand the thinking right now from a business standpoint. I'm not showing them. Clay, are you somewhere in that camp, or are you on the other side of withholding them?
The way I see it is just like SBub said, this is the worst kept secret. I think worse than Tom Hardy and his whole thing with don't share any of this outside of this screening for Venom. Because the way I see it is we all know that they're in it. So if I see them in the trailer, I get that confirmation. The only difference is when I go see the movie, there's going to be something on screen that's going to make it worth me seeing them. So the trailer isn't going to spoil the movie for me because I already know they're in it. Now, there's probably going to be one specific scene or really great action piece that I probably don't want to see in a trailer. That's what I want to see when I go sit down and watch the movie. Like, as long as I don't see that, I'm fine. Like if they were to, I was trying to find a good picture to Photoshop because I was just going to do the whole Shazam cut off the heads thing. And that's probably what we're going to get in the trailer, or like probably the bottom of like Raimi's Spider-Man suit boots or something. Like, I feel like it's going to be a generic or maybe even a voiceover only, type of thing. The tease is going to be really cheesy or not really work out. It because here's the biggest problem. Because we all know it, the first reveal, whether it be in a trailer or in the movie, is not going to be as good as what we're all thinking in our head. Like I don't think it's going to live up to the hype. So show them now, and then the big piece of what you're wanting us to see in the actual film, we're going to go see it anyway. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Are you
Travis
muted there, Travis?
Classic. While he's trying to fix his mic, I was gonna say, I feel like a big reason why like Marvel's camp would want to preserve it for the main screen is for what you described, how that big moment that we want to see on screen, they don't want to like maybe hint at or like, I don't know, get revealed before people go see the movie. But I think it's just too far gone now.
But at that point,
to have that moment.
Why share all of the villains if they're gonna show every single villain that they were so desperate to not prove we're in here? Like, oh no, Electro, no, he's not in here. Oh, Sandman, no, he's not in here.
I feel like they kept going back and forth on like what they wanted to show, and then they're like, oh, we gotta just show something, and then they released it, and they're like, that's not what we wanted to show perfectly to what we had in our mind.
My point that I was gonna make before I was mute things, and I love too that when I come in the stream yards, even before like I get in and I'm like settling, even before I'm ready to go, he just adds me to the stream right away, like every single time, So I appreciate it. Is it you, Taylor? Or is it Kirkland?
I didn't touch you.
That was definitely me. Your microphone, is that the right mic?
Oh no, maybe I don't have the select one. Thank you for letting me know, and not an hour though later, because that would have been yeah, no, it's not the right mic. Oh my god,
is this how you're gonna be running the charity stream and trivia here still? Because I think I got it in the bag if this is how it's gonna go.
His mic will cut out on every question. It'll be a disqualification.
Earth the Geekers. I got my mic now, my actual mic going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
I love the Taylor just moaning in the mic didn't help me at all. Like,
I was like,
either way. Yeah, your Wi-Fi is a little slow for me, or it's my Wi-Fi. I don't know. Anyways, my point was gonna be that with like showing the boots or the logos or even the web slingers, like even the voice, I don't know if that helps, because it's funny. Like, this was obviously after Fandom, so I couldn't use this as like an argument. But when I showed well, I got back and Emily had like watched the stuff like teasers and things like, oh yeah, that looks cool and everything like that. And we were talking about the not showing Michael Keaton, and she's like, as somebody that's just a GA person, there's certain things that she's very geeky about. There's some things she's not. 89 Batman's not one of them. So until I had to like, she got it once we posted on Facebook, everything like that, but she's like, I didn't understand that was Keaton's Batman. Now, of course, someone from the 80s might understand that, but she was like, I didn't like his voice, didn't recognize that much. Like the Cal could be anybody for someone that watches these things not that much. So that's, I think, the same thing with the boots or a logo. I think you see Toby's face, okay, that's fucking Tobey Maguire. Here we go. I think there's even a chance that if right now they're showing Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, there's people that don't understand that is like, oh, that's signifying that Toby's going to come back. It's just like, oh, look, that's Doc Ock. That's cool. There's people that have no idea of like, oh yeah, that's the same actor. That must mean a crossover. So I think for the people that watch these movies, like once in every 10 years or something like that, or if it's on TV, they flip by it. I do think to build the hype, you need that moment in the Civil War trailer where if Spider-Man is he not in it? And they show him flip on the car. And yeah, it would have been great to see, but at the same time, we knew he was going to be in it. And that just added that much more as far as hype for it. And I think you do need to do that because I think that builds up the hype. It does. The only thing I'll say is, I guess for me, it depends their screen time. Because if they're in the movie a lot, I would say, like, then why aren't you showing this? If they are in the movie very smally, I could see why they're holding back. But at the same time, Spider-Man's in Civil War for 15 minutes, and they showed that off in the last trailer, right? So I feel like they should do that again. The last frame should be one of them or two of them. I really don't know, and I don't know how because I feel like they're trying to save like the hero shot for the movie, but you got to show them both off. So what about you, Taylor? Where are you on this? Should they show the other Spider-Man or not?
I mean, in regards to the whole debate of the parents bickering, MCU or Marvel versus Sony, are they going to show Spider-Man in the trailer? I think that's all just a bunch of bollocks, malarkey. I just don't believe it. I do think that it's just people trying to, like, again, stir the pot a little bit. I do think that maybe a conversation was held at one point whether or not they're going to show these characters in specific trailers, but I don't feel like this rumor trailer that it's a week out, they're still having this argument of if we're going to put them in the trailer or not. I feel like this trailer is already done. Again, Sony is very weird with their marketing sometimes, but I feel like when you are in a contract, the MCU, it probably would have been like, okay, we're signed on Spider-Man for these movies. We've signed on to have this release date unless the COVID hits and we need to alter it, which can be annulled in the contract. And we're going to have trailers released on these days. Boom, boom, boom. I think it's already been predetermined and set. And I think that's my 2 cents on that topic. As far as them being in the trailer, I 100% think we're going to see both of them in some shape or form in the trailer. I don't know how. It could be maybe the scene where Tom Holland's like wrapped up and he's all tangled up in Doc Ock's arms. And then all of a sudden a bunch of webs just come out from every other angle. And then like, okay, he's not the only Spider-Man here. There's going to be someone else helping him. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, could be anything along those lines. He's caught in a pickle and we're going to get a scene that alludes to them. I don't know if it'll be boots down or pants down or how they're going to do it, but
I don't think it's going to be pants down.
When I
I
see
don't.
Whoa.
just Toby swinging through, just
big
but,
change.
so we're all big change. Yeah. So I guess we're all in agreement that they will show them, but I hope they do. Like, I hope they do, but I just, for their sake too, I just feel like it just builds the hype and you get posters. And even then, like, why wouldn't you want these guys to do like the media circuit too? Like, why do you not want those interviews of Tobey Maguire being like, oh, it's great to be back? Because if you don't do that, you have like your whole plan is what, to wait like 3 or 4 weeks after the movie's been out and you lose the hype of that anticipation of like the movie's premiered. And then it's like, oh yeah, 3 weeks ago, you were Spider-Man. How did that feel? It's like, no, you do those interviews before, like they're doing with Michael Keaton, where he's going to, there'll be some fucking special fandom next year talking about like the history of Byrne, the history of like, you got to build it up, and Andrew will talk about Amazing Spider-Man too,
But I got a question though.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I think the last Tobey Maguire movie I saw was Brothers. I'm pretty sure, like freaking 2012. Jeez.
Yeah, with Mysterio.
Yeah, with Jake Gyllenhaal also. Yeah, that's right. do we know how well he is in the press circuit? Like, is he like?
I thought
Because
you were
I
meaning
mean,
how well he is just in general, his health. I'm like, no, I don't know the answer to that.
no,
one,
but like just in the fact of like, does he do well in interviews? Is that maybe a reason why they're not like, we saw that meme of him getting ran over by like the
Okay.
paparazzi and stuff, and like trying to run over people themselves. So maybe we should just stick, Toby on the back burner.
No,
As long as they don't
get out
ask
of the
him while he's in his
way.
car, you'll
There's
be fine.
cars, motherfucker. No, he's completely fine. He's done movies since then. He's fine on the press. He'll play
Well,
ball.
you know what? That's a
Toby's
lie.
guy
The
who-
last movie I saw him in was Great Gatsby. That's true.
Great Gatsby. Yeah, he did that. He did some chess movie as well. He did some sort of project with Will Ferrell as well. No, he's fine. He'll play. Toby to me is the type of guy that as long as the check's there, he's gonna play ball and do whatever. Because if you read stories about him, he's big into poker. He's a big money shark, stuff like that. So he's a guy that
Well, I've heard about his gambling problem. Yeah.
Why? I don't know if it's a problem. I don't know if I'm again Clay with the alleged. I'm gonna say I don't think it's ever
Everybody's
described as a
talking about
problem.
it in my social circles.
Is that why you're chuckling, Kirkin? Why were you chuckling when I brought up the gambling and the poker?
Do you think he had like a bad gamble night and then he was like driving away? And
I
then
need
that's
to
when the
be in another
paparazzis got
Spider-Man
him?
movie.
Oh, that one? No, I think that was
Way.
just. I think that was just the height of. If you watch that video, okay, yeah, he was worked up, but he's 100% in the right. Like,
Oh,
those
totally.
paparazzi-
It's just funny.
like they were all over his fucking car. Like he could not actually move the car.
Just flashing
like,
him, you can't even
motherfucker.
see because of all the flash. Like, yeah,
like, what would you do? You're in your car and it looks like you're being abducted by aliens, and this guy's
Oh,
just
this guy's
trying to
losing
fucking. He's trying to get to a poker game. Like he's just like, I just want to play some Texas Hold'em, and you fuckers are all in the way. Anything else on the Spider-Man trailer, the rumors, anything like that? Hopefully, we'll get in a few weeks. But anything to add?
I'm excited for this poster. I feel like more so than the next trailer almost. I'm curious what they're gonna show on it.
Oh, it's just gonna be one
Sony
of
has
those
some
fucking-
bad trailers, or sorry, bad posters and bad trailers for that. matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just gonna be one of those fucking gross MCU ones where one person's big in the middle and then there's just a bunch of people surrounding them, So
Yeah.
it's just like it never like the Disney Plus posters are better, but they're like, oh, it's not movies, no one's gonna see them. But it's like, oh, just stop doing these fucking posters, But I digress. Well, we'll take our first ad break here, and then we're gonna talk about some other Marvel. We're gonna talk about some other New York heroes here in a second, so we'll be right back. This fucking mic gonna be the death of me, And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So this is something that came out, I think, at like the end of last week, and we didn't put it last night because we had so much stuff. There's kind of two rumors that I put together. So last week, this was not a rumor, but this is confirmed that Amy Hennig is going to be doing a Marvel game. She's going to be directing it. Now, if you don't know who that is, she did the original Uncharted trilogy. She, I think, helped with 4 a little bit, but there was like some sort of creative differences or something like that. So she left the project, and then she was also doing like a open world or some sort of adventure action game. I don't know exactly what it was for Star Wars and Lucasfilm. That fell apart. So she's kind of been a free agent, but now it was announced that she's going to be working on I can't remember how to describe, like a solo player action adventure Marvel game. So something almost sounding like what she was doing with that Star Wars game. She's going to do the Marvel game. So you have that. So, okay, cool. Another Marvel game's coming out. You have Guardians, which we're going to talk about later. You got Midnight Suns, which got delayed, which sucks. We got that delayed. They just said to the back half of 2022, right? They didn't even give a date.
No, they did not.
Okay, so that's cool, but fair enough, whatever. I honestly thought that was gonna make that March date. I thought, oh, they're so confident, just like Guardians when it came out announcement, and they're like, here's gameplay. I was like, oh, we're gonna hit it, we're gonna get March, and so Midnight Suns delayed. So this game, the reason I'm putting these kind of stories together, because people had also brought this up, like Murphy Multiverse, that about I think it was 6 months ago or something, like there's like a Reddit 4chan thread of these rumors of as far as like certain Marvel games. Now at first people are kind of like, who knows, like blah blah blah, it might not be true. But one of them rumors that they put in as like a bonus rumor was the fact that there was going to be a single sole player Wolverine game. Funny enough, when we talked about that after that PlayStation conference, this game described as like a God of War type of game for the Wolverine game, but also in that leak was again this Daredevil game. So now people have kind of been bringing these quotes up again and everything like that. So I'm gonna read you off some bullet points of this Daredevil game, what the rumor is right now, and if it's not the Daredevil game, we can also talk about that. But so here's a few things. Marvel's currently, and this was like I said 6 months ago, so it's kind of people are starting to link it that they think that Amy Hennig game might be this. Marvel's currently working on Daredevil single-player narrative-focused game set to release on next-gen consoles in late 2021 or 2022. So clearly, be 2022. The game will be an open-world, modern-day Chicago to offer a very dark noir detective game, all-focused melee combat. Combat apparently similar to Arkham and Mad Max, but with some extra cooldown-based abilities that are customizable through a skill tree. You're going to have echolocation like Arkham Knight with a detective mode. They couldn't get many details on the story, but the villain is apparently Bullseye. Meanwhile, it seems Daredevil has been out doing this for quite some time. The map size was compared roughly to a size of a whopping 65 MI2. I don't know what that means, but they said whopping.
Whoa,
So I'm gonna
that
say
big.
it's big. I'm gonna say it. Yeah, that's I said. Oh, I got a MI2 down there. Taking full advantage of the next gen SSG and other hardware. It seems, however, the free roam is only allowed at night. It was strange. Barely any missions will take place during the day, similar to Spider-Man PS4, depending on where you are in the story. The open world is set and weather time effect. So Kirkland Patzer, obviously, we for sure have a new Marvel single player game coming out.
So
And then
MI2 is square miles.
Okay, so 65 miles is what they're saying. How big the map is?
Well, squared. So if you do math, like the actual symbol for squared.
I'm not going to do that
So-
live on air, Clay. I'm not
So
going to embarrass
it's
myself and get it wrong.
about 41,000 acres.
41,000 acres. Wow, that's
It's
That's easy to
41,600 acres.
a lot of acres to cover, you know. So
Yeah.
Kirkland, obviously, so you got Guardians. We'll be talking about that later, but obviously now we at least have confirmed that we're getting a solo single player game. If it is this Daredevil game that is rumored, is this something that interests you? And if not, is there some other character or kind of IP in the Marvel universe you could see being tackled?
No, this really interests me. Daredevil, I don't have too much like experience with him other than just his interactions like with Spider-Man and like in those little crossover events. But he's always just been a really fascinating character, and I think a game like this would suit him super well. It's just initially I'm like, what would you be seeing? Would you just be seeing like echolocation, everything like that? Or
No,
like
I
if
think
you're
he'd
from his
probably be
perspective?
third person, I imagine, right?
Yeah, okay. It makes
That'd
more
be a
sense
hard-
that way.
that'd be
But
a
if it's
tough
just
game.
like yeah, exactly.
Always
Daredevil
echolocation.
BR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The graphics
Yeah.
are terrible. It's just black.
Yeah.
Um
That would be cool though if you like if they made it like a mini VR game where it is like based off
Well-
sounds and you get like the echo stuff. Like that would be cool.
I could see them having some sort of like a scanning thing like they have in the Arkham games or even in Guardians.
Well,
you
that's what
know?
I just read, Kirkland. Were you not paying attention?
There you
So it
go.
would
Not
have
at
that,
all.
you know.
I muted you. Your mic cut out.
Oh wow, wow.
No, but this sounds amazing, and just if it's the same lady that like headed the Uncharted series, I think like the gameplay isn't the best part of those games. I think it's the story elements. So if we're getting same quality of story for Daredevil, I think that's really exciting. Huge map size, that's super fun. I think just tackling missions as Daredevil, you know, whether you're being the more detective route or if they lean into more the lawyer, the you know, that sort of side. I hope
It's
there's
just
a
a
healthy
law
balance.
game. It's like LA
I'd be kinda
Noir where you
down,
had
yeah.
it's like LA Noir where you had to like interrogate people and try and get it right. That's what you do as Matt Murdock, you know.
Yeah. I'd be interested. I don't know if they'd sell me
Oh
just by
yeah.
that, but
Spending $60 on that one.
yeah, no, I'm excited to see more details out of this because this sounds really cool, and I think a game headed by Daredevil would probably, I don't know, just make the character a lot more popular, especially with some rumors that he's going to be appearing again in the MCU. So I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Is there
And
anyone that
sorry,
if go ahead.
were you just gonna ask me if there's any other ones? Like
Yeah,
any
like
other
let's
characters?
say this Daredevil game is separate from the one Amy's working on. Like let's say we're getting because they're doing lots of games right now. If there is there any character you could think in an Uncharted style type of game that would work for that?
I mean, like honestly, yes. I feel like you could put almost any character in their own little solo game. Like we're getting the Wolverine one. That is like a big name under the Marvel banner, but like honestly, give me that Blade game. Give me Moon Knight. Give me
Blade game is
anything, man.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm all for it. Just getting more like solo player type games like this. And yeah, like I feel like I could list off just numerous characters that are maybe, I don't know, they're not like a big MCU name, but just someone else that's, I don't know, fan favorite in the comics, just to give them more popularity and stuff. And yeah, they're all superheroes, you know, so like they could all be really fun to play. So
Mm-hmm. Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil game. I mean, I would love to dabble in more of these superhero games if I had the opportunity to. I mean, the only one
I wasn't
that threw me
expecting that
off. I
laugh.
wasn't expecting
That
that
was
at all. But no, I think Guardians I'm holding off because I'm excited to hear you guys' review for it. And Midnight Suns was definitely one that had piqued my interest, is on my radar, but now that's being delayed. And the ones that I really want to indulge in are, yeah, like your Spider-Mans and the upcoming Wolverine title. Those are the close-up superhero games that I want to indulge in. So if this Daredevil is going to be cross-gen, probably not, because she stems from Uncharted. That's already a rocky start. I think that there's a lot of potential because those Uncharted games are fire. And I think the talent that was involved with those titles, I think, can really flush out a great superhero game. So them going with Daredevil, I think it's desired. I think it's wanted. There's probably a large fan base surrounding it. Me, I don't know Daredevil that well, aside from Ben Affleck. But I'm sure we'll learn more. I mean,
Have you not seen the Netflix series?
Kirkland, you've watched more than I have of that show, right?
I have
my
not finished it.
Yeah, we haven't finished it.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It's a work in progress.
I mean, they're not canon, right? So what's the point?
I mean, not as of yet, you know?
True. Once if they do like slam that letter down on like the table and say, yeah, this is canon, and put a stamp on it saying canon, I'll definitely like sit down and commit to it. The only thing I've seen for that kind of like umbrella of the Defenders was Iron Fist. And Jessica Jones, actually, but I haven't seen Luke Cage or Daredevil yet.
I could honestly see if you're going Defenders route because I think the actual the way they explain this whole hey, what kind of game this is going to be, it says heavily narrative driven, so heavy into story. That's exactly what Uncharted was. I think you could go a Jessica Jones route if you're keeping it on the ground street level hero type thing. I was actually looking at my Marvel Unlimited app to see if there's any heroes that I could really think of that could get this same kind of treatment. And honestly, I think if you go maybe even a Shang-Chi, he is very newly he blew up this year extremely. I think more so than anything. Uncharted, as far as it's very outdoorsy and action adventure. You can go Black Panther if they want to go a solo Black Panther route. But as far as the whole Daredevil thing, I think that my only question is, why would you have it in Chicago and not Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah,
that's my big thing. I just feel like that's a weird takeaway from where this game could possibly go. But I mean, I'm a day one purchase or day one pre-order with a Daredevil game. I think that with how crazy I am with basically any superhero game, I told you guys, and I did immediately after the trailer of Guardians of the Galaxy when we watched it, I pre-ordered it day one, and I was like, cool, and I've been enjoying it so far. We'll get into that later. But I think with how crazy the Arkham games were and have been, that I'm surprised the game has not even come out earlier or sooner than it did, or is going to, if everything is true. But I also remembered a little bit of more news regarding this whole thing.
Mhm.
There was an
Before you go,
actress.
I was gonna say before you go to also that report did say this game, if it's real, it was not just PlayStation exclusive; it was multi-console. So you had that
Oh,
to look
good.
forward to. Yeah, but
I
yeah,
hope.
Clay, I'm glad you were gonna bring this up, Clay, because I completely forgot about this. So
Janina Gavankar,
Taylor knows who that is.
who was in the
Gina
Star Wars
Carano?
Battlefront. She was in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 video game.
Mhm.
She looks like she could possibly be an Electra character.
100%. One like because lots of people were throwing out Jessica Jones, but it's just all these like smoke leads to fire. It's like all these rumors, and then that it's like yeah, she looks like she'd be electric, yeah, and then Gina Carano as Daredevil. As Imagine that it just goes belly up. But yeah, like I think because I heard while I was like fixing my mic that like Shang-Chi, I think legitimately is possible, but probably a few more years now because this movie will blow up, and then like oh we got to make it the same way. I think like at some point someone has to make a Black Panther game. Like I loved what we got in the Avengers game.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a nice base, but if we could get more of that, that'd be great. But yeah, Daredevil, like it to me, it makes sense. Jessica Jones could like that could make sense because if it's a story one, I just don't know how much adventure you would really go on with like Jessica Jones felt like she would have been better when they were making those Telltale games. Like that would have been really good. Like
Yeah.
choose your own adventure and
Mhm.
stuff. Where now it's like, like you could like she's been Jewel and stuff, but I saw because that's why people were calling bullshit too in the Chicago thing. But I guess the rumor is that they just didn't want to do New York. That's apparently the rumor. And like there's some story reason why he's in Chicago. It does feel weird, but I could kind of get that idea of like, hey, we just don't want to do New York again because we have Spider-Man's there, Avengers are there a lot of the time. Obviously, Guardians is not that space, but I'm trying
That's
to
the
think.
whole thing about Marvel, though, is that they're
Yeah.
all in New York. Like, why not do it?
You just use the map from Spider-Man. Like there you go.
Exact same thing.
After
They just
game's
put it
done.
there. Yeah.
Be like, hey, Insomniac, can we use some of your servers real quick?
Wolverine's like, oh, back to New York, and like that's the first opening of the scene, and like, oh no, but yeah, I don't know because I've said Black Panther many times. I think Kirkland and like other people said that too. Like with Blade, that would be like if we were to get like a full on hack and slash like Ninja Gaiden type of style like Blade game like that would sell a lot of units. But again, I think a lot of these are going to wait till after the movies, even though Midnight Suns took me by complete surprise because I would have thought never would get a Midnight Suns till after a movie came out. Like there's no way. Like even though that word is spelled wrong with Suns, they're still doing a game about these fucking like characters. But at the same time, look at the roster. They added like Captain America and Iron Man. So it's like, yeah, it's Midnight Suns with all your favorite popular Avengers, right? So
Oh yeah, just
Exactly.
think of all the kids dressing up as Mahershala Ali's Blade. Once that movie comes out, time that with the game as well. Oh,
think about all the adults. Well, I
Print
guess
money.
that won't be me, but I'll dress up as the vampire and someone can.
The adults will be dressed as Morbius. The kids
I
will
was
be.
going
Oh,
to say,
right.
Travis is going to be Morbius.
How
That's-
could I forget? Yeah, gonna grow my
the
hair out.
sickly
be-
version.
Oh, don't worry, I'm your friend Michael Morbius or whatever the line he says in that. If this is real and they say it was 2021 or 2022, which clearly again it'd be next year, when do you think we would get this revealed? Because you got stuff like the Game Awards coming up, then obviously you have E3 next year, you'll have the Summer Game Fest again. Do you think we could be seeing this in December come Game Awards time? If it's true.
It's possible. I do like visualizing it being, announced with Jeff Keighley's show.
I was just about to say, Keeley is probably all over this.
Yeah. I feel like December's still pretty quick. So I don't know if I was a betting man, maybe do like a later one, whether it's Summer Games Fest or something like that, but that'd be pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, that would be hype announcement. I'd have to see because they announced Marvel Alliance there, and I feel like that had a long time though, like still build up, right? Like 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they would do, but yeah. What about you, Clay? Do you think a December would be too early if this game is real?
I think it is a little too soon because you still have Elden Ring. Like you still have some of the bigger games that still are probably going to jump on the train of all the Game Awards, even though they aren't like officially like they were officially announced, but they're not out yet. So they're still going to ride as many trains of the Game Awards or any type of show to build hype. And you kind of don't want to have those overshadow something of this capacity. Because I do think if a Daredevil game is true, I think it is hype. I think that the popularity of the Netflix show has brought that character up so much more. I would say probably summer of 2022. So Summer Game Fest for sure.
Summer Game Fest. Yeah, the only reason why I'm leaning towards, even though unless Keeley just wants to have like a bang out really good show, and I love that E3 is not even considered. It's always just like one of Keeley's shows now. But like the only reason that I push off. So here's the thing: if this Daredevil game is not the Amy Hennig game, then I could believe it. If it is that game, I don't think they would have put out this press release last week that, hey, Amy's making a game and we're very excited to be working with her. I think they would have just waited another month, done the big reveal, and be like, oh, and by the way, it's also Amy's game. And that would have been like, holy shit, like this is huge. Daredevil game with like the director of Uncharted. The fact that they put out that statement kind of felt like, okay, this is something we want to get out there just in case it almost leaks a bit more. We already got ahead of it. And then, yeah, it could be Summer Games. So I'm very interested now with like, we got the back half of the year with Midnight Suns. We have Gotham Knights coming out, and then we have Suicide Squad. And then if this game is real, it's like, man, that's a loaded superhero. Like, they got to be. Like, I'm excited. I'm probably gonna be. Yeah, I'll be buying them all. Like Knights is for sure. The only one that I'm 50-50 on legitimately is Suicide Squad. The only reason I have my like I'm gonna probably buy this because it's Rocksteady and they did the Arkham franchise, but like Gotham Knights I'm hyped on. Midnight Suns, Suicide Squad, I liked everything I'm seeing, but it's one of those things like, okay, if I had to miss one, this would be it, especially over a Daredevil game. But I'll buy them all, but at the same time I don't think, like, if they all come out in the back half of next year, that'll get really bloated for those games too. Like you can't have that many superhero games in the market, I don't think yet, you know.
I still think that Knights and Suicide Squad are at least 6 months apart.
And then that's where I would think that Squad is not next year then.
Yeah, well, I think it's 2023. It's said already that it's going to be 2023.
Oh, did it? Okay, if it is, then that's good. Because yeah, I don't them come out the same year doesn't even make sense. Like even if it's the beginning and it's like spread those out, you know. So what about you, Taylor? Do you think Game Awards? Do you think this is not something we'll be seeing till next year?
I don't think we'll see it till next year. They've got a lot on their plate already for titles. I mean, when you look at superhero games, what we're going to be seeing, again, they might show more Midnight Suns just to appease the fans, maybe more Suicide Squad, Gotham Knights. Like, we got a good list of superhero titles already to just kind of ride off with. It just makes more sense to do it and like later on, because even then, like, you have such big titles releasing already. And again, people can say what they want about Halo at this point in time, but you have Halo coming out this holiday season. You got new Call of Duty. You got all these different games and stuff. So people's attention are just going to be kind of...
Call of Duty. I'll give you Halo, but Call of Duty does not count. That has its
new
base
Warzone.
It has its base group, and they're all like they're gonna play it and things like that. So, and then SBUB says he just Googled. It says still has a release date 2022 Suicide Squad. So if that is the case, I don't think it's hitting that. I don't know. It's strange. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I get a Marvel Alliance 4 here too soon. You know, like I know we got that third one not too far away, and I just want some more. So
on other consoles too. Like, I have nothing wrong with it being on the Switch, but I would have loved to have played it on, like, you know, even like computer or something like that.
Computer, PC. Yeah, I think you'd probably get like the other games. I still want to know that deal if it is just exclusive, or it will ever come to other consoles, because I think that game will sell well. There's so many people that I know that said they would buy it if they had a Switch, but they're not buying a Switch. So, well, we will see if this Daredevil game is true. I'll be excited to talk about it, and I hope it has like a hype trailer like that Wolverine one. But and wait a second, is Spider-Man? We never got a date for that, right?
No, we did not.
No, okay, because Wolverine supposedly like far away. So Spider-Man, yeah, maybe that's not next year either. Maybe that's still 2023 as well. So it's cool. I remember Hines when we first started the network, and he's always talking about like, man, I wish there's more superhero video games. Well, we're getting back in that era, and luckily they're not just and luckily it's not just like movie adaptions. You know, it's not just like here's the Black Adam game with Rock voicing it, and like, oh god, let's not do that. So let's take our second ad break, and then we're going to talk about a topic that I cannot wait, because I had not listened to Stars Line, so I'm not sure if Clay's talking about, but I'm very excited to get Taylor's opinion, because he was, for the first time ever, looking at some Star Wars 2 news, not too happy. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I remember Disney Plus Investor Day, or just Disney's Investor Day last year. Hope we get another one like this. I hope they get to show their big Decaca and everything like that. Like, this is all the things we have coming out. And one of the major things that they announced was, and I don't think Kirkland's even seen this rumor that that they're doing Acolyte, right? And that's a show where it's going to be Sith centric, and it's going to be near the tail end of the High Republic, so kind of right before the prequel area going in that way. And it was kind of pitched as a female lead and like maybe some dabbling in the dark side and things like that. Now, so today, Daniel RPK, who I kind of like I said, put in the C+ tier, so it is like at least something that is it's not just coming from just nowhere or like the sites that Taylor follows. You don't want to be following those.
You don't want to be caught on those sites.
I'm back. So you don't want to be using the Taylor sites, because Taylor's always sharing sites where it's like, oh man, where did these rumors come from? Like that to Ryan Gosling's Joker, right? Taylor, remember that?
That was a joke. That was a joke. I was poking the Travis.
Anyway, so today there's a rumor that Daniel put out that it's going to be Sabine Wren, and it's going to be played by, I can't remember her name. Tate whatever.
Tati Gabrielle?
Gabrielle, but the fun thing, that's the woman who was just in You this last season. She played Joe's newest You. So I really like the choice. I think she's a great actress from what we saw from that show. I like that. It's just for me, who was expecting something else with the show, and that's not exactly who I thought. So Taylor, explain who Sabine Wren is for people that may not know, that don't know, like watch the anime show, stuff like that. And then also give me your opinion on this.
So Sabine Wren is a pretty kick-ass Mandalorian that we get to see pop up in Star Wars Rebels. Now, most of the GA is probably not going to know that. And seeing this news is not going to understand that at all. Now, hypothetically, let's say we're all members of the GA. I'm a member of the GA. Let's roll the clock back a year ago. Disney announces Star Wars Acolyte. Whoa! I can't wait to get this Sith Lord show. No, what really should have been like, I can't wait to get this Mandalorian-led series called The Acolyte with the logo as a lightsaber thing cut through it. Totally threw me off. On top of that, it's serious when in a direct message, Travis drops your name. Taylor, I feel like this is not the lead I was expecting or wanting for this show. Okay, and he did say it was supposed to be in like GB3, but at the time I found it funny.
Meant for Kirkland as well, so that's why I said Taylor. And it made sense because I tried to do the linking Taylor and it wouldn't let me, so I'm just like, Taylor, hey. But like because like I know you're pretty optimistic on Star Wars news, but just from everything I heard of what you want from the Acolyte show, and then I saw Sabine Wren as potentially the lead, I was like, ooh, I don't think this tracks. It doesn't track for me, but oh, so Clay, you're gonna defend it, right? Why is this the best choice they could have ever made for Lucas? No,
I'm not going to defend it, because I'm going to say exactly what we said on Star Wars Alliance, and also right here with S-Bubs. How would Sabine be an Acolyte? Doesn't it take place like way back in the past? This makes no sense, and I do believe that it was a error in the post. I don't think they meant Acolyte. I think they meant Ahsoka. Because if people don't know, the epilogue of Rebels, we see Ahsoka going to pick up Sabine. So Sabine is technically probably going to be a lead character in Ahsoka. So I think they just got the names of the shows switched.
Travis, where are you getting these sources from? You're
dropping
down to my tier.
Drop it down to great.
So
no.
So here's the thing. I will defend Travis, because when I saw this happened live while we were recording Star Wars Alliance, and I said it, and then Katie was like, I call bullshit, because at the time that Sabine is in Rebels, she is about 25 years old. And if you go back as far as the High Republic, that is prequel series, Sabine shouldn't have even been born. We see her mother in the last season of the Clone Wars, where she is still a little young. So I think that this was just a typo in the post, and eventually either tomorrow or in a few days they're gonna delete it and then say that it's Ahsoka.
And to defend myself, because Taylor's gonna give me shit, if you look, other people, aggregators, have been saying the same thing. So it was the original Scoopster, Daniel, who posted.
If you click on the post in our GUA chat, it's already been deleted.
Has it been? Because yeah, there's still ones that are out there right now that are out there. So that's the thing where it's like, who? So are we thinking that the scoop, like, are we thinking the aggregator screwed it up, or are we thinking that like Daniel screwed it up?
So I think that it's quite possible. Again, typo is a typo. If Daniel RPK type just like fat fingered it and spelt Acolyte instead of Ahsoka, they both start with an A. I could totally, see the miscommunication in typing. Uh, but either way, like it doesn't look good on anybody when they're all going with it.
So what's weird is the post with the casting has been deleted, but the post with her being the lead character from Acolyte has not. This was on Phantom Wire. They didn't delete that one, but they deleted the casting one. So I have no fucking clue. And go ahead, Taylor. What are you gonna say? Like, 'cause I feel like it does have to be. I'm hoping it's an error because all the stuff does not make sense.
I think what you said, Clay, it definitely makes the most sense. Like, okay, typo and it being Ahsoka, it 100% fits with the storyline to have Sabine, Ahsoka, the storyline continue off finding Ezra in that show. It all comes to life and comes to light there. That being said, what do you think of the possibility? And this is definitely at the bottom of the totem pole. What do you think of the likeliness of perhaps it's an ancestor? Time of the Old Republic that's also called Sabine Wren because they're all part of Clan Wren. So maybe she was named after someone like that. Again, I don't think it's likely, but they could do that.
I'm sorry if you get the popularity of The Mandalorian and now think that every single one of your lead characters in your Disney Plus shows needs to be a Mandalorian. Like, I'm not for this Star Wars universe. I'm sorry. Like, we already have The Mandalorian. Now we have the Book of Boba Fett. Now you're wanting to make another series based off of Mandalorian. Like, it's a little too much at that point.
Oh fuck! I thought Espos was serious for a second. Acolyte is a time travel show. Yeah, so bring her back in High Republic and wacky.
I've always said that time travel can be a bigger player in StarArs if they ever want to just like.
It should not be a player at all. The fact that they introduced
But
it in
they
Rebels was a
did.
huge mistake. Yeah, but it was a huge mistake. They should retcon it. Time travel should not have been in Star Wars.
Have you watched those episodes?
I don't need to. That's like, hey, have you
look at this guy?
Have you seen someone fucking your girlfriend? No, I don't want to watch that. Like, that doesn't sound good. Like that.
You think time travel in Star Wars is just as bad as somebody fucking somebody's girlfriend?
Not somebody, it's my own. But no, it's that whole thing of like, well, have you watched it? Like, no, it's just there's just some concepts I don't think I needed that in Star Wars. And then even when I asked her, like, okay, explain how to me how they do it, and that's even worse than I thought, So I don't at this point is when they fully reboot Star Wars continuity. I don't know if we ever get to that point, S-Bubs. I don't think those like chains of like, oh, they'll do their own like continuity and they'll make it like, oh, this is what would happen. I think out of respect, they will never they would never reboot in a way. I could see What If being as far like an animated series or like if they want to call it something else, fine, but I don't think they would ever Crisis on Infinite Tatooine. Kirkland, do you think we'd ever get to a point where like, hey, we're gonna reboot the entire continuity and start like we're gonna do A New Hope again?
God, I hope not. I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. So, well, there we go. Hopefully this is all just BS and Sabine Wren is not the leader of the show. Because yeah, that was just a huge joy kill when I saw that. I was like, oh, it just, man. And I'm already worried about the Acolyte a little bit, that I feel like it's just going to be lots of setting up Palpatine and Plagueis and lots of just.
Oh, you're worried about that? Hell, I'd love to see Sheev getting set up by his boss.
As I've said to you before, I wish that we started earlier in the High Republic and have the season, like the show, end with that and transition that way. And I will still take it because it's not the fucking dark times, so I'm happy. But I like a lot of the stuff that is happening with the High Republic, and there's so many of these books. I get the ones with our characters, like with Master and Apprentice.
Well, I think the big thing with High Republic right now is they aren't dealing with anything with the Sith. And so I do think that if you introduce the High Republic as it was introduced in novelization form, I think the general audience would be bored with it because there's not like huge lightsaber battles.
Well, no, I think with the Nihil and everything, there's so much lightsaber stuff from the books that they could dive into.
Yes, there is, but I mean, everybody loves a good lightsaber fight. And I mean, deflecting blaster fire and cutting up plants, as much as I love the descriptions and the horror of it in Into the Dark and everything else that's been going on in High Republic, it's great. I love it. You know, we just reviewed the first volume of the comic tonight, which fits perfectly with everything.
Mandalorian season 1 didn't have a lightsaber though
I was gonna
until like the
say,
last thing, the dark
yeah.
saber. But like that
but
became a huge hit.
that didn't deal with Jedi from the start, though. That's the difference.
So you think if there's a Jedi show, you need to have Sith lightsabers and stuff like that?
I think people would expect it.
Yeah, you might not be wrong. I think that's why I'd love them to not do it on Disney Plus, because like that's the place to try it, to get a little weird. Because like I think you can make, I guess it's just for me, it's like I love the Sith, but not that I need a break. I just think High Republic would have been really cool, and I want them just to purely adapt more books. I don't know why they'll avoid them, because like, oh well, it's canon. I just want them to do like
I
just adapt them.
desperately need Matt Smith as Marchion Ro. Like I've
Oh,
already
it'd be
said.
great, because he's not. Taylor, did you see that clip of him confirming he was in episode 9, but it didn't pan out?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. I look at Rise of Skywalker and I say that exact same thing. I don't know what happened here, and then that movie exists. But Kirkland, what about you? Do you think if there's a Jedi show, people are expecting Sith lightsaber duels, everything like that, or could they get away? Because the High Republic right now, you haven't read the books, but the antagonists are like space pirates, and like there's one guy that does like he's stolen a lightsaber, but they're not force sensitive beings and stuff like that. They're just like Vikings, like space pirates. Yeah, Vikings, stuff like that. Good call.
I think the general audience would be expecting that, but if they went away from that, that'd be pretty bold, but also like good decision, I think, because it's just fleshing out more of the Star Wars universe. Like I don't think people should just look at the Jedi and just think of like the epic battles that we got in episode 3, things like that. There's a place for that, but let's just dive into some newer concepts that I don't know aren't really touched upon unless you're diving into the books and things like this, because there's so many cool things about Jedi and Sith that aren't just flashy CGI battles, right?
On that note, obviously we are getting the Obi-Wan show that's going to have Sith and all that jazz in there. I think a good example of
that jazz.
A Jedi show not really having that parallel of the Sith, I think that'll probably be Ahsoka, to be honest, because I'm confident to say, okay, the main villain is obviously going to be Thrawn, but we're probably not going to have any Sith. Like she's not going to be leaving Exegol anytime soon in that show, so I feel like we'll have just Jedi, really.
You never know. They fucking love working in chief. Yeah. No, you're right. I think that Thrawn, and I don't, but you guarantee that he might have just some fucking friend with a red lightsaber. They always do, right?
I wouldn't put it past Thrawn's narrative, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't put it past Lucasfilm, because they can't, like, there was that joke of like they can't do a Star Wars movie without a lightsaber, and Solo they almost did, but what Darth Maul have to do? He had to throw his around and fuck his lightsaber. Like, look, Kira, look at this lightsaber I'm threatening you with. Like, we get it, Darth Maul, it's you. Like, you don't need.
Would you classify like Maul? Obviously, it's a good example, but he was a former Sith. Would you classify like Dark Jedi as that? Let's say, and I say this because obviously we got tidbits of it in the Bad Batch, but with Thrawn coming into play, maybe they are going more into like the Wayland Master Kaboth kind of route, and we get like a Dark Jedi clone or something like that. Oh,
you just want Master Kaboth. So you won't like this answer, and lots of people will disagree with it. I think Lucasfilm looks at any character with a red lightsaber, and that's a Sith to them. I really think the people that are
wrong.
Like, other than Dave Filoni, I think they're just like, oh yeah, like they don't call it Sith, but I think to them Kylo Ren's a Sith, and like everybody in the sequel trilogy, like they put them on the same fucking poster. You know, like when we get those bad guy posters, they're like, here's the Sith, and Kylo Ren's on that card. You're like, well, what the fuck? Like, I thought the whole point is the Sith were dead. So I think like the same with the Inquisitors, and I've said this before, I don't like the Inquisitors. I don't like Ahsoka.
You don't like the Inquisitors?
I don't know. I don't like the idea in Claysmane or hers. I don't like the idea of, hey, Luke, you're the only one that, you know, in the original trilogy has these powers, has this lightsaber. Go save the world. No, there's Ahsoka jumping over here. Oh, there's Ezra here too. And oh, there's Grogu apparently too. There's all these fucking characters with the Force. And in the original trilogy, though, that it was pitched as Luke is the one, the guy, the last one after Kenobi. But now there's all this shit. Same thing. There can only be 2 Sith, but we also have 12 different guys with Force powers, and they have red lightsabers.
That's
as
Palpatine's
well.
magic, though. He's like, you guys
No.
aren't like Sith because you're not as strong as a
It
Sith
just
Lord.
hurts the original trilogy. It hurts the rule of 2 of like, yeah, there's only 2 of us, but no, there's not. There's a bunch of you. So
I mean,
yeah.
if you read the Bane trilogy, it's all fed into like, oh, there could be plenty of people that can be strong within the Force and work with the dark side, but you're not Sith until you're just the 2.
I
So
missed
all
that
those
part in the original trilogy. You know,
so all those
I
other
didn't see that. I didn't see that scene.
I'm just saying, and as far as like Ahsoka being there, Ezra being there, you know, you have to expect that with like
Oh.
the evolution of Star Wars, though. It's building up. This is how they've decided to build their franchise.
No, because what the problem is, they're bored. Like they're too lazy to write a good story without these elements, so they have to add in. Like,
Oh,
we
I
need a red
agree.
light.
Like I think like the comments that I made on Star Wars Alliance when we reviewed Ronin, which is the continuation of the Duel, the very first episode of Star Wars Visions.
Mhm.
That author created an entire new universe for that one novel.
That's
Like,
great.
she was able to do it, so why can't other people do it? So you should be able to.
Travis's defense, though, like you go to saying George Lucas wrote the original trilogy is like, this is it, like the be all end all kind of storyline. He also wrote in Asajj Ventress back in older mediums of Star Wars. Again, she wasn't a Sith, she was just an assassin. So George Lucas's narrative going forward was to have dark side users who weren't a part of being a Sith, right? They were just working for the Sith. He really threw me off there for a second. Oh, he's back.
No, I didn't want to hear your argument. I left. I'm like, nah. No, but that's like that's the same way with me saying George Lucas created something so great with the original trilogy, then he created this dog shit with the prequel trilogy. You know, I'm not saying it's not his fault, and he chose to do that. I just think he had a great idea, and I don't think the prequel's a complete dog shit. Calm down, people. I don't want any tweets. But like, if like he had to me this great concept, and there's just some things, it's exactly like the original trilogy. These great films were made, and then what does he do years after years before Lucasfilm bought them? Oh, let's add this, let's add McClunky, let's add this. It's just like, no, stop it. Like, these are, why do you take the Yub Nub song out? Why the fuck is the Yub Nub song not in that DVD? Why is young Hayden Christensen over there now? You know, like like he can't leave it alone. And so it's not just a Lucasfilm problem too. It was for him. I would say like the difference between him and Lucasfilm now is like he would get more crazy and out there. But I think with them, they have the risk. They won't go out there, but in them playing it safe, it is almost like George, where it's like, we're going to play. They play it safe, but it hurts what came before, where George went too crazy and it hurts what came before. So maybe there's no middle ground, but I just think it's weird to kind of set up these rules. And then, especially when they're always like, well, we're going to tell stories for decades and decades. And finally, we're starting to get into it. But it's just like, how come we've been stuck on the dark times since Lucasfilm's been bought? You know, like, why do we have so much this stuff? Like, you can have all your Jedi and Sith fights in the past. Go way back there. But there where he's like, well, there's not a Luke Skywalker character, so no one's going to watch this. But it's like, no, like Mandalorian, like it got better because like you got to like have some of those characters, but in those Mandalorian trailers, did they show any characters we knew? No. But again, that was on Disney Plus, so that's the argument of like that's why I prefer the TV show, I guess, because you can take those risks. So,
well, and unfortunately, I said this tonight as well when we were talking about the Boba Fett trailer and also the whole thing with Bill Burr possibly making an appearance in season 3 or even the Book of Boba Fett. Like Star Wars' biggest trope is they have an entire galaxy, but we're only going to be in this one corner. So we're going to see the same planets. We're going to see the same people. We're going to see the same characters. We're going to see the same species of aliens. Like that's just what they do. So although like, because just imagine if they had an actual galaxy to play around with, like you would lose track of all the freaking species out there, all the different characters. So you have to have some familiarity when you're playing.
Don't say
with some
Clone Wars. That's nothing but OG and like prequel characters. That's just like that. That would just be. It's not the dark. Like, if you ask me, what do you want to see? Like, what do you not want? Era do you want to go to? Okay, definitely the Dark Times. That's one. And then right below it is the fucking Clone Wars. Like, I don't want to go back there either. I want like what Acolyte's doing.
You're all about that Dr. Vindy. He's
now?
gone.
Am I back
There,
now?
He's back. He's back.
I can't win. It's either my mic, it's my Wi-Fi. But Dark Times I don't want to go to, and Clone Wars I don't really want to go back to. I want to go. Let's get some fucking sequel stuff finally, but that's not gonna happen because who knows? I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
what we're getting with Book of Boba, right?
No,
Some sequel
That
stuff.
happened after Rise of
how far?
Skywalker?
So how far into sequel do you want to see an adventure with Rey again, or do you
Oh,
want
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. Ray, Finn, Poe. Like Poe's not going to come back. I don't think because they kind of crushed Oscar Isaac's soul. But like, I want continue like all these rumors, and they've been by only like smaller scoopers, but all the rumors of a Finn series, abso-freaking-lutely. Like that would sound great. And it's just like they're just so I don't know concerned about. It's so funny when they're like, oh, well, after the sequel trilogy, we have plans for Finn, Ray, and Poe, and there'll be more adventures and stuff like that. But it's been fucking dead silent. And it's like they're scared to move forward. It's like, what does it matter? What does it matter?
I
if
think
Finn
they'll
gets a
move
suit?
forward eventually because let's be completely honest. The only one from what I have seen personally that is moving up in Hollywood is Adam Driver.
Oscar Isaac, I'd say too. He's
Well,
like
yeah,
Dune and Moon
Oscar,
Knight. Yeah.
Oscar and Adam. John Boyega is slowly getting up there.
Yeah.
Daisy, unfortunately, is not hitting anything right now.
No.
Like the two movies that she did make did not do well.
She's
in
getting
the-
hammered. She's not gonna get touched because it's just like, well, you're Ray, like that's and I'll say this too. I think Daisy Ridley is actually a much better actor than Mark Hamill. I think Mark Hamill's he's good,
Well,
but like he could be Ray.
apparently she had a lunch or a dinner with
Mhm.
with Johnson. So, well, not Johnson. Sorry,
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, because
So-
they were firing Kennedy and they wanted Daisy to be the one to let her know. They sent her there and everything.
That's
but-
why they brought Johnson in there because they're gonna give him the
Ryan
job.
Johnson. Yeah, we're replacing. I wonder what Star Wars fans would do. Like the people that always make those videos of like Kathleen Kennedy's out, the monster's out, and if like Ryan Johnson was the person that replaced him, I feel like it'd be even worse.
Oh, let me make a thumbnail for that. You imagine the views we would get. Oh,
I know.
man,
We've always talked about
Oh.
that just selling out and like what would happen. Here's a question I want to ask too, because just we're on Star Wars topic and I didn't add a thing. Do you still think, and to ask you, do you still think we're gonna get that Taika Star Wars movie? Because they announced this week he's directing the Titan of whatever the fuck it is, Tower of Terror movie with ScarJo. He's doing that now. He is finishing up Thor, so that's about to happen. But I just feel like every time we get like, oh, he's getting close to Star Wars, like another project comes up. He's doing the live action Flash Gordon, and I know we talked in GOA. There was another one too, so it was like 3 projects that he has, like, and he's directing. It's not like he's producing. It's like he's directing these 3 movies and Star Wars. But he says it's supposedly next. But again, how long has Ryan Johnson been like, oh yeah, like my trilogy's coming, don't you worry,
I think it's still likely. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
he's a busy guy for sure, but for all I know, this Tower of Terror thing could just be kind of like a Favreau Lion King setup. Like he's gonna do him a favor, and then they'll do him one back and let him have
Do him
his
a
way
favor.
with.
He's doing
yeah.
another Thor for him, like
Well,
Yeah.
Snell introduced me to this new website called IMDb.
Clay had never heard of it.
No, I asked him what projects. I can't even remember who it was.
Seth Graham Smith.
Graham Smith. I asked him, "Hey, what other projects has he done?" And Snell was like, "Oh, there's this website called IMDb." I was like, "Jesus Christ, I'm just asking. Like, I'm at work." But
Classic Travis response.
it says untitled Taika Star Wars film 2025. So we
Okay.
have
We have
I mean,
4
it's-
years.
2021 is already over. Basically, it's already November.
Yeah.
We have another 3 years basically. I think that's plenty of time to write a script, a draft, do whatever, and still push forward on it. I would say maybe, but it's really like Disney and Lucasfilm is really weird about how they don't really move the needle with Star Wars a whole lot. They're very close to the chest whenever it comes to any project. And it's just like, why? Because I've always been an advocate that Star Wars can be on the same level as Marvel Studios and the MCU, but they just don't even try, I feel like.
So we have Rogue Squadron in 2023, and then the Taika film in 2025. So it's like a 2-year spacing
Yeah.
between movies.
Yeah, all right, Star Wars. What happened? What happened? We're gonna be doing, what was it, 2 films a year at one point, and now we're getting what, one every fucking 3 years or
They
2
only
years?
did that the 1 year, right, with Last Jedi and Solo, or was
Well,
it?
no,
Yeah.
wasn't there what, like a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, they had like this huge slate with like all of these
Yes.
different dates of Star Wars stuff, and now it
Well,
just seemingly disappeared.
there's a bunch of movies. There's like the Ryan Johnson ones, obviously. There was another one with a guy or girl. I can't remember. She like did some Netflix show, and then there was another one with a guy, and then there's like another one. Like they've announced quite a few, like, oh, we're working on this project, but they just disappear. They just go in the ether and we never hear about them again, you know? So
And that's what I'm talking about. Like Star Wars has so much content that they could literally be on the same level as MCU as far as like films and everything else and like connected universe, and they
yeah.
just don't do anything about it. I don't know why.
And Solo and Last Jedi happened, they got scared. So well, I don't know where the fuck Taylor ran off to, but we'll take an ad break and then we're gonna talk about some Donkey Kong news and then we're gonna review some Guardians. So we'll be right back. Hopefully we'll get Zack Snyder's Ghost Rider by 2025. Yeah. I wouldn't count on that. So we are back. So this is something, it's interesting. Put aside all the Chris Pratt, Garfield. Anyway, so in a few years we are getting the Chris Pratt led Mario movie by Illumination. I'm gone again and I'm back. You know, it's like Taylor sat down. Like I said, I can't win. I don't know what the fuck is the issue, but you know, we're just gonna ride. We're gonna, as stars would say, ride the storm right now. Apparently there is already in works a spin-off film with Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong after Mario. So it sounds like, I don't think you'll get an end credit scene, but it sounds like he's gonna appear in Mario. That's gonna set him up, and then you're gonna get a Donkey Kong film with Seth Rogen and I imagine Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong, Crank Kong, all stuff. I feel like you got to be loving this news, right?
I mean, it's just they're going for it. Like, I feel like out of any of us, Dylan's the one who's just loving this because he's going to be getting his casting for all like the DK crew, right? Like he's getting his Cranky Kong, like all of those folks. So I think it's great. I mean, Donkey Kong has a huge following, fan base. Like people love those games, grew up with those N64 titles. So let's dish it out. Let's do it.
So I got to ask you the same thing I'm going to ask all these gentlemen, but on a scale, give me a percentage in the next decade. So from now into 2030, fuck, that's scary to say. But when we get 2030, will we see or have some sort of announcement of an actual Smash Bros movie? Because that's what the world ran with. Of like Donkey Kong was announced, and you're like, oh, they're setting it up. Oh, look at him. Taylor just slyly promoted his Cryptid Clues show. He like put his shirt up and like got the logo in there and sat back down. But what do you think the likelihood next 10 years of us actually getting this? Because like I said, everyone's like, oh, here we go. We got Donkey Kong, we got Mario, a few more movies, and we can get that roster going.
I don't think Nintendo will do it. I don't think it's up their sleeve to pursue something like that. I think they'll give us Mario's going to be a hit. I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be successful. I think we get a sequel.
Yeah,
that maybe another one. Like DreamWorks loves their sequels, and I defer to the Minions and Despicable Me franchise. So I could see them obviously getting, like we got the spinoff already, Donkey Kong, get a couple sequels out of Mario. I don't see it spreading further into a Smash Bros movie where we have Fire Emblem, we have Kingdom Hearts, all this stuff kind of compiling together. As great and as fantastic as it would be, Pokemon in there as well. I think we're just going to be getting everything in their own like category. The Mario Kingdom is going to stick with the Mario Kingdom, Bowser, all that jazz.
But you already have that knot, though, if Donkey Kong's spinning off, right? Because you're saying it's going to stick, but if Donkey Kong's going to be in this and then in his own movie, that is already some like MCU setting stuff up, right?
True, but I don't know how the rights works, but can they just go ahead and dive into Fire Emblem, like big screen IPs? Like, I just feel like that's something that they'd have to fandangle, I guess. And like, what else do they have to go with? Like, they got like Bayonetta, they got so many other things that they have to.
That's what I was gonna say. Could you do a Smash Bros with just the Nintendo properties that they own? Like, I'm not saying, because when I say Smash Bros, I don't think you're gonna get the Street Fighter characters, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
saying,
not gonna get Capcom. You're only gonna get
yeah,
like strictly Nintendo.
think the N64 roster of Nintendo. Like, yeah, sure, it'd be the N64 roster, but that'd be fucking hype if they got that. Maybe minus Pokemon. I don't know how that would work out, but even then, like, and I don't know why they'd fight. That's always the question of like why. It's like Mortal Kombat. Like how, why are these characters gonna fight? Are they gonna actually animate the hand
R-rated.
and stuff? It's
Some
R-rated. Yeah.
fatalities.
Yeah.
I don't see it though happening. Like I okay, if we're going that route, I don't see Link being thrown in there. I see him getting like his own like franchise, like a live action or something like that, as like a series.
Link
or
got
something.
leaked. It got leaked that they were thinking about it, and Nintendo canceled it. Like
With
I
Netflix,
don't.
yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that Nintendo will just not touch, but that's just me.
So we leak the Smash Bros possibility, they're gonna cancel it, and it's all like
Or
a speck in the
reverse.
wind.
They're not doing it.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing it. Like, oh, we'll do it. And before I ask Kirkley and Clay, Taylor, there's a right answer to this. What is the one spinoff you want from the Mario franchise?
One spin-off I want from the
Yep.
Mario franchise.
Yep, sitting right there.
Oh my god, Waluigi.
Oh no, you answered wrong. Luigi's Mansion is the 100% route to go. That's
That
an
would be
easy
actually really
spin-off
cool.
Halloween movie, but no, he goes to Waluigi.
I would have said Waluigi.
The
I would've
I'd
said
go
character.
Waluigi.
I love
100%.
Waluigi and
Waluigi.
Wario.
Well,
Like Home Alone
I would
situation.
100%
They're
go
sequels.
for if you announced a Luigi's Mansion, like
yes.
even in this, let's say the sequel of the Mario movie, you just hear that Luigi won the lottery,
Oh, that'd be hype. Yeah, and you'd be like, oh,
like,
he's
and
end
then
credits.
and then he wins the tickets to go to the mansion. That would be the end credit scene. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be or just Mario goes missing, right? Because that's another plot point too, that
Yeah.
he goes looking for Mario. So that's like, I think that like that has to happen. I think I am somewhat in your camp, Taylor, that if unless these movies start to pop off and they're all making like close to $1 billion, I think they will pull, because someone will have the idea of like, fuck, like what if we put them together? It could happen, but if you were to put a gun on my head, like yes or no would happen, I'll say no for now. I do think you're right about the spin-offs and everything, but Kirkland Patzer, what about you? Do you think, one, how do you feel just about this Donkey Kong being spun off from the Mario movie already? It's in development, apparently. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's in development. It's Seth Rogen. There's a good sign that Mario will probably be at least somewhat successful to get this. So if this does happen, are you excited for that? And two, what do you think the possibilities of this Greater Smash universe potentially happening?
Yeah, so the DK news is pretty exciting. One of the very OG characters, so I think it's only fitting that he would get his own something, whatever it leads to be. And like what Taylor was mentioning, like there's just so many different like DKs, right? So I think it would just be a fun ensemble of seeing these different characters, and they already have such like wacky personalities. So like giving them some good voice actors to, I don't know, just give the characters some credit. Whoa, kitten. Sorry, breaking the fourth wall. You just throw me off. And
You want me to break the fourth wall?
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'll take fault for that. But yeah, no, I think it's really, really exciting. Now, the Smash Bros. Collab thing, I can picture it happening, especially just like from what I saw in like the latest Space Jam, just like all the different characters coming together, and like what they weren't fighting really, but like just seeing them all on screen, like it's easier to visualize now after what I got from that. I think I don't want it to happen though, because I can't see them doing like a phenomenal job for it. So I feel like I feel like, I don't know, might be a little pessimistic, but if they deliver it and it's something like the original Justice League, where they're like just bringing a bunch of characters together, super rushed, and it's just not that great, it'd be really disappointing if that's like the first Smash collab movie that you get with all these characters that everybody knows and loves. I just, in my eyes, I feel like the expectations would be really, really high no matter what happened, and it'd be tough to meet those.
In regards to this, I don't know why I was thinking that it is. The Mario is CG, right? It's not like
it's
Sonic,
like
where it's
DreamWorks
Yeah.
style. Like think Despicable
Okay.
Me.
okay, cool. So I'm looking at the roster.
Better not be live action.
Holy shit, man. I'm looking at the roster of the original Nintendo 64.
Mhm.
And honestly, I could see them doing a Metroid CG movie. I think that would be play pretty nice. I can see them in a weird way doing almost like a oh shoot, what is that racing movie?
Oh, F-Zero.
Well, for Captain Falcon. But no, what was the anime that it was? Shoot, what was the old cartoon? Um, they made it into a live action movie, and it was like all bombastic and crazy.
Speed Racer.
Speed Racer, yeah.
Mm.
I feel like the Captain Falcon movie would just be freaking Speed Racer on drugs, like to be completely honest. And then you have Star Fox. I think those are your only contenders.
Ooh.
Maybe a Kirby movie would be a little playful, but like, how the hell are you gonna make a NES game or a movie, a NES movie? Like,
But is there some characters you could give like the Hulk treatment to, where they're just side characters in the world and not getting their own movie? You know,
I mean, maybe NES would be the only.
What
I
is
don't know
this
what is
switch
going
up?
on with your camera, dude, but it is.
No, I
it is
didn't do
wild.
this. Who did this? Why did you do it, Taylor? Why did
You're
you do
you're just so zoomed in. I'm like, let's amp it up.
I don't actually
See
know
his
what
pores.
I don't actually
Oh.
know what happened because my camera is fully it's fully zoomed in, fully zoomed out. I don't know what changed because I was like,
Holy
well, I'll
shit.
try the Geek First computer now. The fact that my Mac laptop was shouldn't have been and everything like that, and I don't know why. I have no idea why it zoomed in. What's going on? It's like
But
make me
to
small.
be honest,
make me small.
I'm looking at the roster. Pokemon, I mean, Netflix has that right now. I think that'll be doing bukus over at Netflix, to be completely honest. I don't think they would touch the CG. Like, because even they did, what was it? Mewtwo Strikes Back in CG. It did not look
Mhm.
great. To be completely honest, I did not like it. And it was like a word for word carbon copy of the actual like 2D animation movie. So I mean, that's whatever. But everything else, like, I'd go for a Luigi's Mansion movie. I'd go for
Star
a
Fox has to happen.
Star
is some-
Fox would be
that's
great.
cinema right there.
Well,
That'd
no,
be
just
fantastic.
now that we've seen the Lightyear trailer, like Star
Oh,
Fox
yeah.
is a must for real. But overall, with the Donkey Kong, because I haven't commented on that. I mean, I still think it's wild that Seth Rogen is playing DK. So
Perfect
like,
casting.
I I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, to be completely honest. I just
Really?
have
You
to
don't
see.
think that's great casting?
It is, but like
It's
it
almost
is.
like Jim Carrey as MODOK. It's too on the nose. It's too
Yes,
out there.
I do feel like because I have because just because
Jim
of the
Carrey for
meme of the Seth
Waluigi.
Rogen, no, just the meme of the Seth Rogen laugh. Like, I'm just waiting for it now. Like, I can't
it's gonna
not
happen.
have it in that.
Mario.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm excited for it. Like, I don't know how this is going to be. Illumination has like a spotty track record with me of like, I don't think any of their movies are bad, but it's kind of a mix of like, oh, this is really good to, oh, this is just fine. Like the Grinch movie to me was just fine. But then some of those Minion or no, it's not Minions. What are they? Despicable Me. Some of them are good. Some of them are all right. I never have seen Minions. I'm trying to think what other ones they've done out there. But yeah, we'll see. I think with the Illumination one, where I'm gonna see it, and it's gonna be much like Venom, where I'm gonna know right away, am I in this universe or not? But I just want to see this universe on screen, and I hope we get there. Like I hope we get to like a Mario Party movie too, you know, stuff like that. So Luigi's Mansion and Smash, maybe we'll see if they pop off. But like Taylor, you really don't think you could get like a Link in this world? You know, that's one that one you just specifically said, oh, we're not gonna get that.
I don't think we'll get that in this world. I think if they do pursue a Link, Zelda, Ganondorf kind of route, it would be. It
You think
would
live
be.
action?
I think it would be live action. I really do, and I think it'd be a series. It wouldn't be a movie.
Really? Well, we'll see.
I feel
Did
like
you have something else to add, Kirkland?
I feel like with just how how big some of these universes is with their own titles, like you guys were mentioning Star Fox, Kirby was mentioned as well. Like I just feel like there's so much of a world in each of their individuals. Like that's why it's tough for me to just picture it as Smash, because
Yes.
if you just bring in these characters, yeah, majority
Avengers
of people,
though.
majority of people like know who they are. But I feel like if we just got like a Smash title with all these characters, with all their baggage just not really touched upon, I feel like I personally would be a little disappointed. Because again, it just makes me think of Justice League on how just so many
Uh-oh.
characters were just thrown in and just not fleshed out whatsoever, and then we
But
just
what
like
about the
got
Snyder
this
cut?
ensemble.
What if
Snyder
we
cut
get a
was I didn't mention the Snyder cut. I'm talking about the original Justice
but
League.
what if we get a 4-hour Smash Bros movie in a
Then I'd be
4.3
my word.
ratio,
Then I'd be my
black
words.
and white? But Avengers, same way. Look, you had Thor, who was a god. You had Iron Man, just an inventor. Captain America, World War soldier. You know, Hulk,
Yep.
this monster. You know,
Here's the big plot twist at the end of the Mario movie. We're actually going to see the rabid rabbits from Rayman.
I
Oh,
would not put
wow.
it past Ubisoft.
that would be a piss off. Like that's the big crossover we get as Raw Rabbits, man. Brie Larson, Samus, yeah, but then you're gonna get a bunch of people making those Kathleen Kennedy thumbnails again. Oh, Brie Larson's ruining the Nintendo franchise. She's trying to get woke. She doesn't actually play video games. You know, all this type of stuff. That was the narrative because she just wanted to play fucking Animal Crossing on her Switch. People like she doesn't play games. This is just for publicity. It's just like Animal Crossing is not a fucking hardcore game. Like tons of people play it. It's not like she's trying to claim she's fucking some fucking Dota legend or something. I don't know. people are weird. So anything else to add on the Mario DK news? All right, well, Taylor, like unless you want to stick around, now's your time. You can bounce away to your jerk chicken because we're about to review Oh wow!
No, I'm kidding. Jokes. I will bounce though. I will bounce.
So
I'm kidding, but not really.
So for the audio listeners, he just left the video and then came right back. But then he just announced, "No, I'm gonna bounce." So, all right, Taylor, I will see you Friday when we set up the stream. Then, so
Good luck.
adios. Okay, so good luck. Like we're fucking tackling world hunger somewhere. We're just gonna be talking about the Guardians game. So I will let our guests have the floor. Clay, obviously, some you were watching when we did the E3 with Dylan and Taylor, and we broke this down. Game came out last week. How is it going so far? I suppose I'm probably gonna get Guardians game in 2 or 3 weeks, so I'll be leaving too. I'll definitely be listening to the review once I finish the game. As far as any consolation, we're not going to talk about spoilers until like the very end. We might mention a bit of spoilers because Clay's only at chapter 9, Kirkland's at like 7, and I'm at like 7, 8. But mostly we're going to talk about like non-spoiler gameplay stuff. So we won't be delving anything. If we do, I'll say spoilers. But how is it going so far, Clay, with your experience? So this is like kind of a review in progress for people. So
Yeah,
just let you know.
you know, I think we all took the approach of, with it being a Square Enix game, definitely seeing the way the mechanics were going to be playing out, that, you know, if we were a fan of the, you know, Final Fantasy franchise, it would kind of play like that. I do feel like, just because of like how some of the fighting is, and how when you're doing some of the team combos or whatever, the freezing is kind of like its own unique like turn base within that. So that's really fun as well. You have to be kind of strategic. For me, I've upgraded, I think, only Groot and Rocket to their max, and so like I either like there's a move with Rocket where he like pretty much use gravity or something to like bring all your enemies together, and then I use Groot to like shoot all the spikes up at them, and it gets pretty cool. But honestly, the mechanics and everything are really, really fun. I do think that like the detective mode for Star-Lord's whole visor thing, I'm a little annoyed that you can't just put on the visor and have that as your
Like for the
character.
look. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
just
It
for the
is
look.
weird that you only get the helmet when the visor's on. Like some cutscenes you get it, but it's strange too because like they give you costume choices, which is like if you're making a superhero video game, you need to do that. That's always like the creme de la creme. It's so cool. Like even if it's just 7, like, oh, what are they putting here? And like they have different variations of the helmet, but yeah, you don't really see it that much. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it does annoy me a little bit, but like the mechanic of it works really, really well, especially when you're like trying to find your little, I forgot what they're called, like mods or whatever, to upgrade your character. I think that aspect is really nice because then you're doing a little bit more exploring, and this isn't necessarily like open world whatsoever. it kind of gives you a streamline of like, hey, this is the direction you go, and there's a little bit of exploration within that.
It's very
Um,
Jedi Fallen Order-ish in a way.
yes,
Yeah.
without the Uncharted like obstacle. But even still, you still have like those moments where you have to have Groot build a bridge or have
Yeah.
Drax pick up a heavy item.
And there's
Each,
some like small quick times like cutscenes
yeah,
sometimes too, where they've been very few and far in between, but you do have the like, okay, hit triangle, hit square, okay, smash X real hard. And it's like
yeah,
I absolutely, as somebody like, I think Uncharted did it well. I've never played them all, but I'm somebody that doesn't really prefer those. So I am happy that they don't have too many of them, because I don't need to
yeah. I
need to
think
play
this is very heavily like story influence, which
that.
I'm really enjoying actually. Because there's moments, I will admit, I stayed. Small spoiler. There's a moment in, I think, the very beginning of the game where you're like Star Lord on Earth as a kid in your own little freaking bedroom in the basement. Um, I stayed in that room for quite some time, looking around at everything,
Mhm.
seeing what all I can interact with. I sat there in the bed looking at the lyrics of the song for a while.
Mhm.
I bought the deluxe version, so I actually have the soundtrack on my PS5 now.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
really nice. But overall, I think I've only ran into one glitch, to be completely honest. There was one moment where a character, like a bad character that I was fighting against, got glitched behind like an invisible wall, and I couldn't move forward in the game. So I had to relaunch from last checkpoint, but thankfully it was literally right there.
That's
Um,
good. Yeah.
that's really all I've really dealt with as far as like glitches or anything. There's one moment where like Drax was standing on top of a character at one point, but it like quickly like changed after I like moved.
What
Um,
is this?
exactly. But overall, I'm really enjoying the game. The story is really compelling. I really like it. I did have one nitpick about like, and I know it's more of like Rocket as a character, but they always use him as like the asshole slash like, hey, I'm gonna drive the team apart for a little bit type of
Mhm.
character. Um, which I mean, I feel like you could probably do that with Drax, but like for some reason they always like to do it with Rocket, even in comics. So I'm just like, eh. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. What about you guys?
Kirkland, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying the game. I think this game is kind of like the hidden gem of 2021, honestly, because I don't know, I was interested in it, and then I think the big deterrent was like, well, I'm only playing Star-Lord. What is this? Like, I just was playing as everyone in Ultimate Alliance 3, so maybe I
Who was
just want
that? Who was that impression? Was that Taylor?
absolutely, Taylor. Yeah, that's what I
Or Star Lord?
Who? No, so I don't know. I wasn't that interested, thankfully. Buddy at work was like, "Hey, I'll go halfers with you on it." So that made it like, "Oh, okay, maybe I do want to get this." And then that was also around the time when the reviews were coming out. So most of the reviews that I was seeing were around 8.5. I'm like, you know what? That's pretty damn solid for a game like this. So picked it up, and man, just from like when I put the game in, I was just so pumped because like just the menu alone when you get in there, it's just such a Guardians vibe, whether it's the
Yes.
music and like Clay was mentioning like the stuff where you get to see like mini Star Lord in his little basement, and like he's listening to like the album Star Lord, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's all like original music, right? It was done for this game by
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
band that was
I
the
yeah.
believe so,
band
yeah.
the band Star Lord is made specifically for
Yeah.
this game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sweet. And like like you could literally, like Clay was saying, like you could just sit in the bed in the game and just listen to the whole album. They got the lyrics for you right there. I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting in there for a little while. I love just like exploring and getting little details on just anything. That's a big kind of mechanic of the game, is like we were mentioning the scanner, but I love that you can just get details on so many different things. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a specific type of equipment or a ship or something. I love that it just gives you details on things like that, because it just fleshes out the world more, and it's not required to play the game. Like you could literally just fly through and not read a single one of those. There's some, again, little like pickup things that you can get, which are just like more, I don't even know what they're called, but it kind of just fleshes out the lore and the world and some things that are going on in it. And I love when games have that, like, because it really isn't mandatory to sit and read that, but I just love doing it because I love Guardians of the Galaxy, I love Marvel, so I like just getting more fleshed out information on it. So all of the world stuff is just so great. I really love the cast and all of them. They're obviously not like the ones that we're familiar with in the MCU, but they're still very likable. Like, they're still the Guardians, and I think having a game like this where it's not like the actors that we know of in the MCU, it allows someone like me to just like learn more about what the Guardians are, not just like, oh, what's Chris Pratt like, or what's Zoe Saldana as Gamora, right? Like, I can see what the characters like. I haven't read the comics, so I guess that's where you'd get the most information on there. But I just like getting, I don't know, further depth on these characters that I've grown to love in the MCU, and I'm liking them more and more, especially playing these games. So yeah, story and yeah, so I love the characters and the gameplay. Now, like, it's not as like a triple A like refined gameplay like smoothness factor like Clay was mentioning. Like, I haven't really experienced any bugs. There's been some funny things that have happened that haven't been game breaking. It's just like, okay, this is some funny little game glitch type situation where it's not game breaking, but just some funky things happen with movements and things like that. So like for that sense, I don't think it's like the most polished AAA like smoothness factor with the gameplay, but what the gameplay is, it's so good. Like, whether you're in combat, like telling your crew to do different like abilities and stuff like this, different strategies with certain characters, like Clay was mentioning, he's upgraded what were you saying, Rocket and Groot. Like, I've only upgraded Star-Lord and Gamora actually, so you can just kind of, I don't know, get a different playing style depending on who you're putting points into. I'm assuming eventually I'll have everyone maxed out, but it's just fun that you have the flexibility to kind of strategize that way. It doesn't like force you down a specific play style. And like initially I found it a little clunky, just like moving Star-Lord, shooting my own guns and doing all these things, but that's just a learning curve. Like, now that I've got it down packed, like, it's the combat's so fun and it's very just flashy and like it's fun to look at. I think it's something that I didn't know I really wanted for a Guardians title, but it fits so well. And yeah, the gameplay, it's really, really fun, and it's very seamless with the story stuff, whether you're throwing out one-liners with other characters. I wasn't really
you have like
expecting.
the character tree options and like dialogue options, which aren't like
Yeah.
they're not like The Witcher or something where you're like
No.
super affecting choices. It's just little things. So I don't even know near the end when they're just like, oh, Gamora really likes that. It's like, is that gonna play
Yeah.
anything really going forward? And I don't know if it does, but I guess it's just almost like, in a way, I think they do a good job making the game feel personal. So it's like you are building a relationship with certain
Totally.
characters. So
Yeah.
And that was a mechanic I wasn't really expecting too much going into it, because I don't know, I think I'd seen like the first teaser trailer and nothing really else other than that. So I wasn't expecting to have like that much of a mechanic in that sense of like making these little decisions, whether they're heavy decisions or not. But I love it, and I love how they're used. Like sometimes I feel like there's a lot coming at you, but it all fits with just like, you're at Guardians of the Galaxy and you're just bantering like constantly. So it's funny seeing how difficult like a leader type role for the Guardians would be when you have so many
Well, have you guys like gone
personalities.
against the grain on like where you're supposed to go, and then like Rocket will like talk shit until you actually
Oh
start
yeah,
following the
absolutely.
the
yeah,
actual
what are you doing
story?
sneaking around? You're supposed
Yeah.
to, you know, why are
I'm
you
like looking
hiding?
for collectibles or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that stuff, I love how seamless it is. Like, as you're going along, there'll be a quick one-liner that comes in there, and like I said, I just wasn't really expecting that, and it's been a pleasant surprise. It's really awesome, and I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm excited to talk about some spoilery stuff. I know we're not all done the game.
Yeah. No, I'm somebody that I think it's kind of like with movies, where it's good to have games, movies, TV shows, that not everything has to be the worst and not everything has to be the best. And I think this is one in there where it's better than I was not expecting, because I saw that E3 stuff and I was actually pretty impressed and I liked it. So it kind of hit like on par. I will say the first few chapters I was worried, because I was like, man, Kirkland talked me into getting it because he's getting it. I bought this fucking $80 game. And like, because when you start off with the characters very basic and before you start updating stuff, it's like, man, like Star-Lord is everything I worried what people said of like, man, this is kind of boring. Like when he has none of his like unlocks and he just has like the punch and the shooting, you're like, oh, this is brute. Like this just feels like an arcade game. I could have easily bought, like I should have waited. But as you continue to go along, it does get better. And the best way to describe it is it's not, if you are someone that's not big into superhero games, but you'll like make exceptions for like the Arkhams or the Spider-Mans, I don't think it's on that level. It's not on that like top tier. This is the best of the franchise. But if you're just looking for a superhero game, or you like the Guardians, or you like Marvel, I think this scratches that itch. Even if you want to wait till Christmas, so maybe it's $20 off, I think you could do that. I don't think it's like a must play, but I am having like a really fun time that both these guys point out the world kind of building that they do. And luckily they have Marvel to pull from, but still, like you guys mentioned, they don't gotta make the all the things you go look at or go reminisce. And like there's just one moment in the room where it doesn't have much bearing on the story, but there's like a whole room of collectibles or just like looking at stuff about Peter Quill's grandparents, and you learn about the relationship he had with them and had with the mom and stuff like that. You don't need to put that in there, because maybe I could be wrong at this point. It's not a big spoiler, but I don't think the grandparents are going to function in the story at all from where I am. It's just like, it's just little stuff. So they really are filling the world. So I appreciate that. It's not just like, okay, let's just drop in this world and like go for action. That's why I kind of knew, okay, I'm not going to finish this by time. And if the charity stream wasn't coming up, I would definitely, but I think, okay, I'm not going to finish this in time for reviews. So that's why it's one in progress, but it's a story I'm liking so far. It has that weird thing of like, it's tough because at times it feels like the MCU Guardians, but it's not them. It's like their own rendition. It's kind of like the problem the Avengers game had, where it's like, it's not the MCU Avengers, but it's like they have lots of inspiration because, something like Iron Man is very similar to the way he's in the comics, where he's a smart mouth and sarcastic, but it's like it's very Robert Downey based. I don't think this has that too much. I think the only one that they really, really try to invoke is Batista's Drax. Like I think they really are trying to go for, and I like that, like legitimately. And I think it's just like the movies where there's lots of jokes in this game. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they won't. Most of Drax's stuff just always gets me. I love that type of humor. I think the voice acting's good, and the combat, like I said, it gets better the more you unlock. And then once you do, because I kind of had forgotten about the whole, like I knew you could control your team, but I forgot about the system it was. And man, like obviously we already got the Avengers game, but I would love a Avengers game where you're Captain America, and because you're like the leader of the Avengers, if you were to do the same thing, because it's so cool that you get to control your team, you get to kind of plan out these attacks, and the rebuffs aren't too long. So it's not one of those where it's like, oh, if I use this, I can only use it once in a fight. It's cool that you can, okay, kind of time, like, okay, I'll use rockets, and I'll use Gamora's, and then by the time I want to use theirs, I can refill the other ones. And once you unlock all that stuff, it is fun, because it's like I still think Peter Quill as a character, even more you unlock, he's pretty basic. Like his attacks are what you'd expect, but when you get to do that on top of using everyone else, I think that's tons of fun. And I always like when you get the huddle, and like that's always a fun moment when there's this like this,
They talk shit or they're like really hyped up in
Yeah,
in the huddle.
yeah, and you're supposed to talk, and then for people that haven't played the game, you break out, and then you're playing a song. So that's very much like the Guardians movie. Soundtrack, they did a great job. It's killer, and like I think they obviously, you kind of knew that, and lots of them they pick like lots of just like big hit songs, but they're all songs I like and stuff. And it has like more of a different vibe than the movies, because if you look at James Gunn, he went for like those kind of 60s, 70s classic tunes that the mom we listen to, where this is more like
70s and
like
80s.
70s, 80s, like hair metal, it's
Yeah.
like people like in your face like that. Like
I was really surprised as of how much licensed music there is,
Yeah.
which I mean kind of kills the opportunity to stream.
There was
Like,
a streamer mode.
They have a streamer
actually.
mode, yeah.
Oh,
So it
really?
disables the licensed music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I know.
Yeah,
I was thinking that, but I also didn't want to turn it off because I wanted those good songs. So I'm like,
Well, like
probably
the
won't
really
stream
cool
this.
thing is, if you guys haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure y'all have because y'all have probably explored the ship also, you can listen to all of that music too on the
Yeah.
ship. You just click either the first, and you can skip and do all sorts of stuff with that music. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that was the first way I found like, hey, what songs do they have? And it was really cool. And plus, like, even when they used them in the actual story, I think they work. So yeah, I think it's a really like, and it's tough for me because I was gonna say it's a sleeper hit, and it is. It's tough for me because the only new games I've played this year is the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima, and the director's cut of Death Stranding, and then this. I hadn't bought a game the whole year just because I've been so busy and I haven't had the time. So, and there's other games I would have bought, but they got delayed. So it is a fun, enjoyable experience. And I'll say this, like, so far, every time when I boot it up, I have a good time. And like, obviously that's a cheesy thing. People sometimes hate when people just say, oh, it's just fun. But it is that. If you like this world and you want a good time, that this game is, I think, gonna deliver that for the most part. And I actually just really like the level design. Like I feel like each level that we've gone to, because there's chapters, and usually a level might be like maybe like 2.5, 3-ish chapters. And so far I'm only at 8 or 7, somewhere there. I can't remember, but each of them have been very distinguished to like, okay, to this planet, to like, obviously it's not a spoil. You see this trailer, you go to nowhere, to like some flashbacks you do. I think this is a good thing where sometimes games, especially in space, can kind of, there's a risk of them getting samey because they just use a lot of the same type of terrain or type of places. But so far, everywhere I've been, as like there's like kind of like a prison level, like it all sticks in my head as far as like, okay, I'm gonna remember these down the line. That's where it has that Uncharted sort of feel. Where Jedi Fallen Order, I don't remember any, like I remember them a little bit, but those don't stick in my mind at all, like the different terrains and places I went to. And yeah, luckily I've not had too many bugs. I'm somebody, you go back to our Jedi Fallen Order review, that game I had notorious bugs. There was like at one point when you are riding like a big dragon on there for the whole like 10-minute cutscene and fight scene, there was no dragon. It was just Cal in the air flying around, and it was one of the worst experiences of my life. Oh yeah, no, and there's a point, Clay, where it got to where my character was blind, so I just had to time it based on like my game ship of like, okay, I think I'm gonna hit X now. I didn't even get the prompts. It was an awful experience that I found. So luckily, if I've gotten a bug, it's just been like, okay, you might get stuck on a wall quickly, but not even like something that sticks out. So far, I'm enjoying it. Is there anything you want to say non-spoiler? And again, spoilers we're not going to get deep into. We're just going to talk about a few little things, but anything non-spoilers you want to say?
Just I'm really looking forward to trying to find all of the costumes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I've
I got
found
pissed. I left one behind. I was really mad.
I found Groot's Guardians of the Galaxy movie one. I
Mhm.
found Drax Guardians of the Galaxy movie one, and I found Star-Lord Guardians of the Galaxy movie one. I'm like, I need the whole set.
Oh,
Like,
see, I
Yeah.
got Gamora. I don't got Star
oh,
Lord.
see, I don't know
yeah.
where Gamora's
Yeah.
was.
I got the
Yeah.
Star-Lord and
I got
Groot one.
Gamora wearing a Nova suit right now.
Yeah, that's what I have as well. Because I'm not the biggest fan of her like base skin with like just like the white armor.
The white,
so
yeah, the
for
original
the Nova
costume.
skin on there, she looks so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it seems like there's quite a few costumes. I was very surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised how many. Do you guys got the suit Rocket one? I really like that one where he's in a suit.
No,
No,
I don't.
the one
I
for
just had the
Rocket
Nova
that I
one.
have is, oh shoot, I forgot which one I do have. I think I do have a Nova one for him too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
got
I
the
got.
Nova one for Star Lord, and then yeah, the one that I was mad. It's that classic video game thing where it's in the level where you're gonna go meet Lady H, and I saw it there. I saw the pearl container, but it's one of those of like you're going to an area to our right that was higher ground, so I wasn't sure. Oh, is this gonna get me to the point where I get there, or does it kick me to the next thing? And it did, and I tried to like load the last checkpoint, it wouldn't work. I was like, God damn, I was so pissed.
Yeah.
I saw it
That
there,
sucks.
but yeah,
I'm sure
was,
after you complete it, you'll be able to go by chapter.
Yeah.
I
and
think
you'll
there's
be
an
able to get-
option. Yeah, with Star Lord's with his movie one, does he have the same hair or is it the game hair?
The character is the same. It's just the costume.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
just the red jacket with the black pants.
It's a little
But
disappointing, but that's
but
fine.
I will say your younger self with the mullet and everything,
Mhm.
there is a costume for adult Star-Lord with the mullet and
Oh,
the
really?
blue
That's
and
cool.
That's cool.
the blue jean jacket and everything.
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one that was really crazy to see was the Groot like apocalypse one. Do you guys have that one?
No,
I did
I
get
do
that one,
not.
Yeah,
That's
it looks
cool.
pretty crazy. And I wasn't sure if like when you put them on, when you get into cutscenes sometimes it's like just goes back to the base one, but no, it's whatever skin you have on there, so it's really cool.
which
Which
I always
sometimes works.
appreciate in games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they can get the suits to change along with the cutscenes, that's how I know it's a good game.
Yeah, which works. There was one scene where Rocket was in the suit where I'm like, this doesn't fit. I shouldn't have had him in this. It was like, I got like Spider-Man PS4 vibes when I like put Peter in the Ghost Rider suit and then he'd land and have like a serious scene with MJ. And you're like, oh, I got to pause and change this. This just doesn't look right. So there's a few times where it doesn't work, but
Yeah.
all right. Go ahead.
Just one last thing Travis mentioned, like just the cool designs of the levels and everything, like the vibrancy that they have in these locations that you go to. It's just so beautiful and like
Yeah.
just wild colors, something that you'd expect from Guardians, I guess.
Have you guys figured out how to do the camera mode? Because I haven't figured it out yet.
Like take a
I've
photo.
done it accidentally. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it accidentally many times.
How'd,
So I
how'd
can't
you do
tell
it?
you. I feel like it was maybe square, but I can't tell you for sure because I
Damn
just hit it and
it.
I move
Well,
away.
like I'm really big into photo modes on games, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
I need to find out how to fucking do it.
I want to
Because
say.
this game, there's a lot of settings where I feel like it would be like gorgeous to do some filters
Oh,
and stuff on
absolutely.
it. So
Oh yeah, and like the photo mode is crazy just with the amount of like details and stuff. I can believe how many like settings and like other menus that you could adjust, like the accessibility,
I feel like
all of
ever
that
since
stuff.
Ghost of Tsushima, people have just gone crazy with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was very surprised about that, but you can really customize it however you will. But no, it's funny. I could not think of the button actually, but I know I've brought it up multiple times accidentally. It must be, I don't know, R1 maybe. No, what button is
Yeah, I know. Classic button mashing. It's like I have no idea, but
that?
so yeah, spoilers. So yeah, let's just talk to chapter 7 because I don't know if I'm at 8. I think I'm there, but I don't know for sure because I won't lie. Last night I stopped playing because I was starting to daze. So I was like, okay, this is my time of I was
Well,
done.
so I was telling you before we started recording that I'm not entirely sure where I'm at. So
Yeah.
you go first, so that way I know. Okay, that is my cap on
So
what
Yeah.
to talk about.
I'm at the point where we were arrested by Lady H, and then we were just about to break out. And I think the last thing I was doing was like getting some tentacles to release and stuff like that in the wall, and I kept like dazing and stuff like that. And there was, I believe, a cutscene, but like there's stuff obviously like Rocket and I almost call him Pratt. See, Star Lord are like feuding, so like they're kind of broken up. We had the conversation with Cosmo. Obviously the kid thing happens pretty early on, and that's kind of where, and the Lady H thing. So that's kind of where I am. Is kind of right after you got your mission from Cosmo. That's where I am.
Okay, cool.
Right on. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm like the chapter after that.
Yeah, I think
8 or 9.
I'm either 1 or 2 chapters after that because there's one scene in particular that kind of like leads you to believe that this could be a bigger universe, and I'm like,
That one.
oh,
Yeah, I got. Did you get to that one, Kirkland, where there's like hints to other Marvel stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
Okay.
really really
okay,
cool
so
scene.
we could
That
talk
was
about
really
that
cool
one.
scene,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
that was really.
so
I'm caught off guard.
because I think it was after Cosmo gave you your mission, and there was like this like galactic
Yeah.
cosmos like hand that you're writing on, and I was like, what is this? And when the first one starts to talk, and it's like the Avengers, I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like what are we gonna do
Yeah.
here?
That was so sweet.
I
Yeah,
was
'cause you
pretty excited about all that.
Yeah, you got
Absolutely.
that. You had a Peter Parker one. I think you had a Drax like with his family still
Yeah.
alive one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had Thanos. So it's still like they say
Do you think
Thanos
he's
is
gonna?
dead.
Yeah, they actually. Okay, I may have heard this wrong. Did they say Drax killed him?
Yes, they
Yeah.
say that they killed him. That helped end the war. What was ever happening? But
Mhm.
Okay.
I feel like Thanos has been, they talk about him a lot. Like obviously, daughter of like Gamorre's daughter. Thanos has a history, or sorry, Drax has a history with him. But they're name dropping him so much that I just feel like there's going to be some, whether he is a end point or whether he is like a hey, we could tease him for a sequel. I feel like he's not maybe really dead. But it's so funny because at first when I was playing the game, I'm like, oh, you know what? So far the continuities line up. I'm just gonna pretend these are adventures from Guardians 2 to Infinity War because they've said nothing that changes that. And then they introduced the daughter, and then they introduced Drax killing Thanos. I was like, okay, so no, I
It's
can't
quite
do that
different.
anymore. But yeah, no, that multiverse stuff was really cool because I was not expecting it, and that was such a fun way to allude to other things. But then just it being like an Easter egg, they don't have to explain why is the Avenger, why are they hearing that,
Exactly,
why are they
yeah.
hearing Spider-Man. So I really like that.
Yeah, no, that was such a sweet sequence, and like Clay just said, like it completely threw me off guard. Like when I just heard the Avengers, I'm like, oh my god, this is something I'm not expecting. But I mean, for how much I love Marvel, anytime there's like a hint at like another character or a hidden game or something like that, I'm all for it. And yeah, I liked just the Guardians like reactions to what was going on when they're talking about like just different multiverses, things like that. Just such a cool sequence. And again, I mentioned like the visuals. Like gosh, that area was just such a cool looking
Yeah.
realm or whatever the hell that was when you're flying on like the intergalactic taxi cab. Basically that's what that was. It was just like a hand. But no, so sweet. And yeah, I obviously not done the game, so I'm not sure what's going to be coming. But just the stuff that they hinted from this, it's got me thinking that like even going forward, like I feel like this game could be a game series going. Like there's so many things that they could touch upon, story wise, and different characters that they'd want to introduce if they're not in this game.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the daughter trope and stuff like that? Obviously, something
Yeah.
happens a lot in these things, and I imagine it's gonna be his. I know they've kind of played like, oh, you don't know for sure, but I feel like it would be,
Well,
and I
did you
kind of like that.
guys because it prompted you to be like, hey, you can either deny it or accept it. Like,
Yeah.
were y'all playing it off like for the jokes, or what did y'all do?
No, I questioned it right away. I was like, the time I went with what I would have done in that situation.
Yeah.
I would not be joking around. I'd be like, hey, 6 years, whatever it was. Like, no, I went for that. And then she's like,
Oh, I
no,
was
of course
joking.
it's not that. You were
I was like,
joking?
no, the math doesn't add up. This
Yeah,
could be
exactly.
it.
Yeah. Because I will say the writing in this game is actually really clever.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
it is hilarious. But honestly, I would put this a tier below Spider-Man PS4, to be completely honest, because I
Yeah,
do feel
it's a
like
good tier to put it at. Yeah.
I think that like with the writing so far, and like I can't remember her name, but the leader of the Nova Corps, and like
Corel.
the emotions that are going on with that story, and with it being his daughter, it is a trope, but I think it's really hitting well with the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they can stick the landing with that. Did you
Yeah.
guys, because if that's the mission right after, or like that's going into the mission right after with the whole hand thing, did you guys look at the files of all the criminals on that computer in that mission?
No,
Or
I did
no?
not.
Yes, I did.
Oh
There was quite a
man,
few
Travis, you
that
missed quite a few characters in there.
There's
I'll
quite a
be
few I
excited to go
wasn't
back.
too like familiar with. But I loved again like the Guardians just dialogue in that sequence, like them actually giving you some inkling as to who these people are. If I really wanted to, got the Wikipedias, all that stuff. I
Mhm.
could have did some Googling, but some
Yeah.
cool stuff shown.
They show Moondragon. They
Okay.
show Darkhawk in there as well. They because like the big joke is like I think it was from Rocket that like, oh man, like all you humans are for people who don't know exactly what's out here in the cosmos, y'all are really out here in the cosmos. And they talk about all the humans that are on this like huge criminal list or whatever
Mhm.
files. So they drop a lot of names in there, which
That's
I was
cool.
really surprised at. And again, it's just more like what Kirkland was saying as far as like building the world and giving this a little bit more, broadening of this universe. I really do enjoy it. But I'm just waiting because like for as much as we've already gotten, we're technically only halfway through the game. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, holy crap, who's going to be the final fight? Like, how are
Yeah.
they going to tease any
Mhm.
sequels if they are going to make any sequels? Do you guys have any idea of like, because I kind of feel like you can go as crazy as like introducing Silver Surfer in here and maybe Galactus, but I think that's a little too big. But what do you guys feel?
I think for first game might be too big, but yeah, I feel like Lady H. I don't know if she can be the full on main antagonist. I feel like there's going to be something more to that. So I don't want to throw the Thanos thing, but it just feels like that flag is being waved in front of our faces right now. And luckily, I haven't been
Yeah.
spoiled because like it's not. So that's one thing that does make me think it's not Thanos because I feel like, oh, if it's Thanos, I would have had some fucking tweet of like, oh, how the big bad villain. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not. Maybe there's just a tease. But yeah, I don't really know. I think it'll be something with the daughter. Like there's a good chance that Carell might not even make it or something like that. I don't know. I liked having Mantis make a quick appearance. That was really fun. Yeah. So
I
and I
am
love.
not familiar with her character because she was acting completely different from the movies. And I was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
holy shit, what is wrong with her?
Yeah. Did you guys buy a ticket to the collector's museum?
I couldn't
I did
afford it
not.
because I was already blowing all my money.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
bought a
That and the
lottery
lottery.
ticket.
Yeah. How do you cash the lottery ticket? Have you cashed it yet, or is that later?
Well, like
Well, they said they're
apparently
gonna
the
come
way they
back.
say it is like,
Yeah.
oh, if you I think like the whole scam of it, because I do think it's a scam,
Yeah.
is the fact that they're like, oh, you have to come within your own accord and blah blah blah. So they don't even announce it. You just have to keep showing up. Apparently, is the way that they tell you, but you can't just choose to go to nowhere.
Oh,
The
yeah.
story's gonna have to throw you back out there if you can even go back.
I lost some money too playing that brain on the cup game because I
Oh,
beat
that
him
fucker. I
yeah, I should have
followed that
stepped
cup. I
away.
swear to God, I did. That
Oh,
was
we did.
bullshit.
He was a joke because the
I
first
didn't
time I
even play.
made money, and I'm
I
like,
didn't even.
oh, you didn't play at all?
I didn't play it. I'm like some giant brain. There's no fucking way I'm gonna beat this guy. This is
Well, the
obviously a
first time
scam.
you play it, you can win it, and you won
Okay.
1,500 credits. So it's like, fuck yeah.
Okay.
He's like, you want to play again? So I'm like, oh, it is just an easy game. But then what happens is he tricks you and just takes the ball away, and then he runs because you're like, this isn't fair. He's like, oh, see you later. So if I would have just played that first game and stepped away, I would have been $1,500 richer. But I didn't. I was an
That's
idiot. But no,
hilarious.
I paid for the museum. It wasn't actually too worth it. The only thing that was really cool was Throg was in there. And
Oh,
like his
nice.
hammer and stuff. And there was a few other weapons. The cosmic cube was in there, but it was actually like not too many. It was just kind of like 5 or 7 of them. I can't remember. There's like Nova. I think they're kind of insinuating like it's like Nova's helmet. So
Well, Nova is one of the characters that is also in the files
okay, there.
that you
Well,
see
yeah,
on the ship.
that's one character that like when you talk about Silver Surfer, I could say, oh, that's Wayne, but Nova, whether it's a skin or sequel, could easily pop up because he fits obviously Nova Core or whatnot and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was buying. I think I bought like the thing that removes the Nova tracker, and I was buying some other things. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna stay above $7,000 so I can pay my fine. And then I see these kids playing some shooter guns. You know, I do some shooter guns with them. Fucking
oh
kids
no.
robbed me. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't even afford the fine now. I better find some money some point.
Oh, I thought we
Nice.
already paid for the fine, so I was not supposed to be using this money. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I didn't pay the fine.
Well,
I
that
didn't
was
need
the
no
whole
money for
point
that.
of going to go see.
Oh, they'll forget that. Like once you save them, they're gonna waive the fine. Like there's no way, you know. They're you know, I guess the villain could be that priestess guys too, which you know could be
Yeah,
all right. We'll see, but I'm hoping it's something else.
I have inklings that it'll be like a red herring situation. Like you'll think this is the main villain, and then there'll be someone else that's pulling the
Ralph
strings.
Boner.
I
Well,
yeah,
the
probably not.
church, I am pretty sure
Church.
whatever the guys like the organization that they are a
Mhm.
part of, isn't that like the whole thing with freaking from Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 2? Like the gold
With the high
people?
priestess and everything like that,
Yeah.
and that it might be because are they always gold in the comics? So because I've read Guardians, but not too much. Because if they're gold, this guy wasn't looking too gold, but we've only seen holograms of him. So
Yeah. I think he from well I don't want to go too far if you guys have not reached it yet. There's a moment where like you're actually talking face to face with him. Have you
Yeah,
was
guys
he gold?
that's where I am. I'm like right in that sequence.
Okay.
Was he gold?
He was getting there.
It wasn't blue.
Okay, well, there, he wasn't blue. Okay, well there we go.
Yeah.
We'll see. So yeah, it could be those people. So and then maybe it's
Yeah.
Adam Warlock right around the corner or whatnot. So anything else to shout out?
Just like the Guardians. My favorite's definitely Drax. It's probably has something to do with like what you mentioned, Travis. It's like the most fitting to the Batista one. His humor like just did it for me in the MCU version, and again with this one, like all of his one of like his one-liners, probably just the deadpan humor and like how literal he like says things. It gets me going. And like honestly, I can't remember the last time I was playing a game like this. And like in the middle of just venturing, like I'm just laughing out loud. Like this is just
Yeah.
some of the bickering and back and forth they have are just so funny. And like we mentioned, like the dialogue options you have, there's so many moments where I'm like picking what I would pick. I don't know if I'm trying to thirst over Gamora, so I'm siding with her or something like that, or I feel bad for Rocket, so I'm siding with him. But sometimes I just like throw gas on the fire just to like, because you know I feel like Star-Lord would just like make one of these comments. It's just like such an asshole sometimes. So it's fun that you have those, just like how often you get hit with those situations that go one way or the other in the dialogue, and they come really quick. There's some times where I feel like they happen too fast, where like a dialogue will come up and I choose something, and then I like move like 2 steps forward, and then they like talk about like the objective, and I'm like, oh, I just missed out on what they were talking about there. But like I don't know, there's just so much dialogue. I guess you'll get that sometimes, unless it just like actually causes you to pause and like listen to the whole dialogue, because a lot of it is just while you're searching and they'll just throw out one-liners. Whether it's Rocket saying, "This guy doesn't know where he's going," and I find my collectible, and I'm like, "I did know where I was going. I just need this." Got an
Yeah, I
outfit
think
for you, you asshole.
I think the dialogue trees could be a little slower. Like sometimes I get in some of the cutscenes, but sometimes it's just like, why is this moving so fast? When they're just like, "What do you
Yeah.
want to do, Peter?" And they're just sitting in the ship and looking at it. It's like, why do I only have 5 seconds to decide? Like, why can't I just give me some time?
Yeah.
My last comment on like the character's voice acting. I think the one that throws me off the most is Rocket, and it's just because it's not
Absolutely.
like the Boston accent, whatever
Really?
Bradley Cooper
I
was
think the
giving him.
one that throws me off the most is Gamora.
Gamora.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rocket for me
she's-
is like it sounds like it's trying too hard to be Bradley Cooper, and it's not Bradley Cooper. So
and like
that's what
without the
throws me
accent
off.
though. It's like he's
Yeah.
got a Rocket accent, not like a Boston accent or something that Bradley Cooper
I
brings.
can see that because I think majority of the time Nolan North is the voice of Rocket on almost
Oh,
everything
really?
else. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think he did it for Marvel Ultimate Alliance. He did it for Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay.
And he did it, I think, in the animated series of Guardians of the Galaxy for however long that was running or whatever. But yeah, I think for me, my favorite character, other than just being Star-Lord, being able to control what he says or whatever, would have to be Rocket. I think just because I don't know why. It might have just been the choices that I make or whatever. But man, like him and Rocket are just button heads, and the dialogue is just great. What'd you guys think of the storyline of the llama?
I fucking love the llama so
Yeah,
much.
me too.
I love every time going to talk to him, just like, you don't eat any cords now. And I really like that, especially too because at first it's building up like all this big monster, and then it's just this llama, and I can't wait to see like, is that gonna pay off or is it just a joke that's there on the side? I don't know, but I really like the llama, and I guess I should say one other thing too that I forgot to show because I'll forget is there's that one moment when you're in the prison, you talk to this guy and you hit a button and it takes him to another site, and you're like, oh, like he's probably just somewhere else, like he'll be fine. And then they show him the background, like he's like floating off into space.
Into space? Yeah,
Like,
he's like,
oh.
oh, let's just go this way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that. But yeah, the llama, and yeah, just little stuff like that. Like I'll remember, just like, oh, the fucking llama, just really good little comedic beats all the time.
Well, I was gonna ask you if you kept the llama or the weapons. Sounds like we all went with the llama.
100%
Yeah.
get the llama. Hey, look at that
100%.
llama. There's no way. You
Yeah.
know, I'll find some more weapons. That llama is one of a kind.
And
Well,
like when that moment happened, that's what made me think of something like The Witcher, because it actually says like you decided to stick with the llama, and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what ramifications is this gonna have story wise? So I was curious, going forward. Obviously we haven't beaten the game, but just like where these decisions actually veer you, like
That llama screwed you. Like everybody, like the kid gets killed in front of you because you picked the llama. The llama's like, I've been the villain the whole time.
That's the main villain, yeah.
Yeah. You really fucked yourself now, Peter
Well, I just
Quill.
remember watching the
I killed your
trailer.
mom.
I remember watching the trailer and us being like, "What the fuck is up with the llama?" And Travis, you're completely right. It kind of just feels like a joke, and like there's this moment that that you find like a voice, like a translator, and Star-Lord is like, "Oh, I wonder if it has Groot's like language in there," and I'm like, "Oh shit, we're gonna be able to like actually talk to Groot. It's gonna be fucking awesome." But like every chance you get to like look at it and talk to Rocket, he's like, no, nobody has that. Like, you're not going to be able to hear Groot at all. I'm just like, God damn it. I just want to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, it's been a fun game. I'm probably going to play a little bit after this. I still need to edit Star Wars Alliance after this. But after that, I've already planned on having an early morning at my work. So I'm probably not going to sleep tonight, which is going to be wild. Especially with going to Eternals tomorrow as well.
May
So.
fall
Hopefully
asleep.
that llama's in there, you know? That'd be great. That's the big end credit scene people are talking about, which apparently, be careful on the internet, people, it did leak apparently the Eternals end credit scene. So I did not watch it, but it's out there. So
S Bubs probably has it in our Discord.
Oh yeah. He's sending us the whole movie right now.
So I was gonna ask. So it seems like we all went with the llama. The other decision making thing that I don't know if what you guys did the same route as me. What monster did you present to Lady Hellbender?
Rocket.
Rocket.
Oh, I did Rocket too. Look at us.
Because
Never mind
the
then.
reason I went with that is just because I felt like Groot is less trust. If this goes right, he's less trustworthy on the inside. Where Rocket, I feel like
Yeah.
I just trust him more, and he could. And Groot to me, it's like, well, if we need muscle, he's on the outside. So yeah, I did go with Rocket, and I'd be curious to see. I feel like the same thing happens where it all goes to shit because I feel like it
Yeah.
leaves you to the next level. So I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. But that was fun. I really like that Lady H was just like all over Drax and like was just like thirsting hard over Drax, and he wouldn't understand. Like we talked about some of these things, like I think she's flirting with you. And then later on, when you're talking about some of his lines, I love when he's like, I am sitting on hard rocks. And he's like, no, like I think the expression you're going for is like a rock in a hard place. He's like, I'm not in a place, I'm sitting on rocks. So it's like, okay, whatever. But yes,
Yeah.
I went with Rocket. And that's when he was wearing the
Yeah.
suit. And that's like, oh, I picked the suit wrong because he's in a full on like dress like suit, like James Bond. And like,
Yeah.
here's the monster, and Rocket comes out in the suit.
Well, that's what I was
Oh,
gonna
that's
ask because I
great.
wasn't sure if it actually veered you down a different story wise. If
Yeah.
you went with Groot, it's like, oh wow, this is a monster. I'm pretty impressed. But then when it went to the jailbreak thing, I was like, okay, was this because I went with Rocket and it was just not believable, or is this because we're just advancing the story and this would have happened no matter what? That's where I was gonna ask you there, but seems like we're all making the same decisions.
Yeah, gotta watch the YouTube cut movie, that side.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we talked about it, so yeah, I'll be excited. Maybe we'll revisit it again once we finish it in a little bit, and I'll be excited after this week, extra Afterlife. I'll be happy to fully put some time down with it, like for multiple days. But yeah, well, Clay, obviously, I'm looking forward to kicking both you and Kirkland's ass this Saturday in trivia. But thank you very much for joining and giving us some of your free time here. And where can the people find you and everything you do?
Yeah, of course. And I am going to be gladly kicking some Travis Snell ass on Saturday.
That's right.
But you
Team
can
Rangers.
always find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter. In my bio, you can find the link tree to all of the shows that I host, that including DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Comic Book Legion podcast, Weird Science, Marvel, DC, and manga, as well as the Ranger Alliance and also the newly added Star Wars Alliance.
There you go, like Infinity Gauntlet, taking them all over. So, well, me and Kirkland will be back to next time you hear from us. We'll have seen Eternals, and I think it's going to be. I would be really disappointed if it's just like a basic bitch superhero movie, and there's been all this talk about, which I actually think that's going to be the case. I think it's just
Yeah.
going to be like a fine movie, and it's like, oh, okay, it's just not as good as other MCU movies. But all I'm hoping for is whatever that movie is, I want to like it. But also, I am excited for the end credit scenes. Everyone talks about
Yeah.
those big end credit scenes, so there'll be something to talk about. And I promise when you hear from Sex, not be boring.
See you later.